I'll state order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. We had our opening ceremony. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda? Anybody have a conflict of interest? If not, we'll consider the agenda approved. All right, hearing none. Madam Auditor, if you read the minutes from our last meeting, please.
April 2nd, 2024, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Gene Hayden, Chair, presiding members present, Schultz, Dozark, Hayden, Mulbauer, and Rossberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. A motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rossberg, to approve the engineering services agreement with Calhoun Burns Associates Incorporated for bridge inspection load ratings for 24 and 25. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Mulbauer, to approve the Iowa DOT budget and 5-year construction program for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Voting aye. Dozark, Rossberg, Mulbauer, and Hayden abstaining, Schultz. Motion passed unanimously, not really unanimously, it passed. At 10 a.m., as advertised, the motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Dozark, to open the public hearing regarding an auction of county farm land lease. Jim Reiser was high bidder at $3.55 per acre. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to close the public hearing at 10:10 a.m. Board agreed to enter into a lease agreement with Jim Reiser for the county farm at $3.55 per acre, with the lease commencing March 1st, 2025. That's not right.
That should be, no.
It should be now.
Yeah, ending March 1st, actually ending February 28th of 2025.
Okay, we'll fix that. Motion. There was no motion. We'll fix that too. What the heck?
Gene, did you initial?
Well, a motion passed unanimously, that don't belong there.
I mean,
We'll get that fixed. I don't know why that's in.
No,
No, you're fine. First, Snowgren, Dennis, and Fire Chief spoke, and I should have read it. Spoke to the board about a storm siren being placed at Yellow Smoke Park. Motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to approve storm siren at Yellow Smoke Park. Cost sharing with the city of Denison, estimate around $16,500.
This is Dave.
Yeah, motion passed unanimously.
Dave kind of went in with.
Motion was made by Rossberg, seconded by Dozark, to approve the National Public Health Week proclamation April 1st through April 7th, 2024. Motion passed unanimously. Motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rossberg, to approve the following resolution 2024-9. Resolution transferring funds in the amount of $8,000 from our self-insurance fund, $8,500, into the wellness fund, 4020. Voting aye, Schultz, Dozark, Hayden, Mulbauer, and Rossberg. Motion passed unanimously. On motion duly seconded, the board adjourned at 10:54 a.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting. Okay, I gotta look at this.
So that a unanimous vote on the abstain is correct. Because that.
Oh, it is?
That don't
Okay.
count. The
Oh.
unanimous vote don't
Oh,
count.
so everybody voting it was unanimous.
So that does
Got
not
it.
need to be
That
changed.
makes sense.
Good job.
But this was not a
Abstain is
vote.
not a positive or negative vote.
Right. So passed unanimously with one abstention.
I will never forget that.
And this is a vote, but this,
The land.
after the
auction,
land auction, there was no.
there was no action taken. I mean, the public hearing, the action of the auction
Right,
determined the outcome of the land.
right.
We did not take any action as to it. So should we took action to, I mean,
No, I mean,
the public hearing was
The hearing
to
was-
establish,
who was gonna be the
who-
renter?
you know. Yeah.
Hope that makes sense.
But you can't take any action in closed session.
We were in open.
Oh,
So we
maybe
came
the
back into open and then had a motion.
action
right?
was going into the hearing and closing the hearing.
That's
Public
probably
hearing.
right. We did those actions.
Yeah,
Those were unanimous. And I think you had that, didn't you?
I just think
Didn't state how much it went for.
355.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's, as long as it states we open the public hearing, close the public hearing, and then
Yeah, okay.
between there, it went for 355.
Sorry,
No corrections needed?
no, I don't
Not with that.
think so, because the abstaining is unanimous. And that unanimous, I think, is in regard to the motion. There should have been two of them, a motion opening and a motion closing.
Yeah.
There should be two motion passed unanimously.
And they did.
No, there was only one.
With only one wrote on there.
There's two motions, but it only says it, only,
One was recorded.
I'm gonna just have her look
All
at
right,
it.
I want to sign it in the correct one. Just don't need
Guess I should have read it.
that.
I do.
We'll just wait for her to get back and finish that before we move on to our committee reports. Unless you're still gonna be last for another couple of weeks. So it's sort of a tie, so Kyle will start with
You guys are seeing the benefit of saying something about that, right? Maybe you will be forgotten.
No, you're not gonna be forgotten. Maybe you won't be exactly last today. Maybe Ty will be last. So fun. It's takes,
I'm easy to get along with.
well, unless I forget you. Which I would. So. How long should it go on? Otherwise, Kyle, you could start if you wanted to.
I can,
Yeah,
I better wait. till
okay,
she's
that's
back.
fine.
Never a whole lot.
All right.
We don't get accused, we got public watching us, we could do Saturday legal
He
meeting.
doesn't have any paper and pencil, he's not keeping track.
No, but
All right. You will wait.
Oh, the home speak, I was trying to figure out who that was, or sorry, insurance folks.
Oh, okay. He'll be on for a little bit.
Yeah. They're on the agenda.
Got it, she got it.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
Outstanding, thank you.
So do we want to approve it then with the,
Correct.
we can move on then, I believe, to, the reports of the supervisors. Kyle, what did you have last?
okay, Conservation Board, meeting last Wednesday night. Ken Huntley's family is gonna be donating a new fishing dock out there.
Oh, yeah,
in
his
his
name.
memory, so
Nice.
what kind of dog? You
it's
know,
actually gonna be a handicap accessible with like an awning on it, to keep the sun out of it.
Oh.
They-
is it float when it floats?
no, it'll be,
Permanent
it'll
structure?
be a permanent structure, and, Paul and his crew are probably gonna put it in this winter, this coming winter.
Nice. That's,
Chris has kind of made all them arrangements with him already, so.
Did you say at Yellow Smoke?
At Yellow Smoke, down in the neighborhood of the fish cleaning house.
Okay.
So, on the-
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that'd be on the west side of the campground.
Yeah.
So that's gonna go in, that's gonna be a nice donation, and then, our, Yellow Smoke Park Ranger, retired,
Heard me.
yeah. And, he took a position with the Denison Police Department, so hated to see him go. Eric was I was well liked, and I thought he did a good job out there, but, you know. Things change, and he's seen an opportunity for him and his family to better themselves, so he took that opportunity, so.
That was Eric.
Meyer.
Meyer, yeah. He came from Florida and took this position. He was a law enforcement in Miami or Orlando area. And he was looking for a change when he, you know, so he kind of took a leap of faith and moved his family up here, and he likes it here. This
What does that say?
opportunity came up for better for him, so they'll be in the looking for a new park ranger, which I don't know if Chris got a hold of you, but now the budget amendment may not be with that. I don't know how that's gonna play out. It'd be a minuscule amount, and it would only be for spending it, so I mean, I don't know if we really need to change anything, 'cause
Right.
but he was gonna, I think, reach out to you and just go over the numbers again in regards to that. And it's already been published, so there's not much we can do.
I mean, at this point, it is what it is without. But, in another amendment.
It's not gonna, actually, the
Yeah,
amendment,
that's fine.
I
if
don't
you
know if
want
there's
to.
really anything that needs to be changed, because the amendment would be for more money than what we're gonna spend now.
It just needs to clear that was changed.
It'll, yeah, there won't be, now they're talking through, there won't really be.
That's the plan on replacing it, right?
Right, but depending on how that plays out, you know, we get a single person, or they don't start until after the fiscal year in July. They'd like to get somebody in, but you just don't know if they have.
What do they do in the meantime then?
Well, Bryce will kind of take, and then Lakener, and they'll just kind of fill the void, so. Which is that, and then, you know, and then we talked a little bit about the RFP for city center.
Sure, got that done.
Okay.
So we can add that that's been posted.
Then posted.
Yep, we'll just send it to the newspapers as required. I did change the date slightly because we had to go with the, when the newspapers come out, time and then, award it. So we went just exactly how newspapers come out, and it'll be on the, website, on our website. I was gonna say Facebook, but we don't have a Facebook, so
All right,
that's moving along.
okay, thanks, Gene.
You're welcome very much.
Well, this belongs on.
How is Frisbee golf going? Do we get a report on
What?
how is Frisbee golf going? Do we
Oh,
ever get a
well,
report?
the first 9 holes are all up and going.
Okay,
Yeah, that's done. He had plans of doing, making an 18-hole golf course out there, but that hasn't taken flight yet.
Where's the 9 at? Where's it located?
I think hole 1 starts.
Down by where that bridge crosses, I think. No, the whole one's up on the hill.
Tubing Hill, I think, is where
Tubing
hole
Hill.
1 starts.
Okay.
And then, I've never walked the course, but I do know, once you get to one hole, it's got a map of where the other ones are all at,
I
so.
might go do that, just. see.
Yeah.
But are people using it? I mean, are
As
people,
far as I know, they're using, I mean, granted, it was kinda.
You have to bring your own frisbee?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
When we did
I'm
that-
not 100% sure, cause they were looking at getting a few cheap sets to have it down there, just in case.
I remember Chris talking about that, yeah.
But there is, you look on Amazon, you can get a pretty decent set for like $40.
See, they're different kind of frisbee other than like the free ones you get at
Oh,
parade
yeah.
parade or
It's a
something.
lot different.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
CDC
they've got, like,
actually was at
pitching
the
wedge
grand
for-
opening,
okay,
and I went down there that day, and there was 2 guys there, and they carry a little backpack. It's packed full of frisbees. They got special, just like golf clubs, there's special
Drivers,
frisbees for doing
wedges.
everything.
Really?
It's kinda
It
crazy,
is neat.
but they look more like disc.
Right.
I think that's why they call it disc
I've just seen
golf.
them on TV briefly and that doesn't
But
look like
that,
my frisbee with the, you know, clown face on it or something.
Yeah.
Looks different.
You're right.
yeah, they're different.
And then I haven't heard back from Mason and Tancredi yet in regards to getting some engineering stuff. Trying to draw it up for the new enclosed shelter, so.
Mhm.
they call it an amphitheater or.
There's, part of it will be an amphitheater. I mean,
That's kind of. a
Dr.
good idea.
Tancredi is very adamant that that's there. And I think that's I think that could be used for a lot of different things that would draw people to the park. So I'm kind
They're
of
gonna face
excited.
towards the campground,
I do believe the amphitheater will be able to look out over the lake. It'll
Yeah,
face the campground.
towards the campground. That could be kinda cool, like for putting music at the 4th of July for, you know, like doing the
Yeah.
national anthem and different, out of that, you know,
Yeah.
like the kids from high school. That could be kinda cool.
I, you know, I don't know if there's so much love in that part of it out through I don't see a problem with it. I only see benefits.
Yeah, me too.
I do too, absolutely.
You know,
Parking is the only,
Yeah. that could be
issue that I
a-
kind of see.
like you can grow into things too. You don't have to, build and they will come. That's my,
Yeah.
I think it'd be
It's in Iowa, we make breweries.
a great addition to
Build
that
it, they
park.
will. Yeah.
And the conservation board they didn't take no action, but they did show that they wanna move forward with this whole project, so
Good.
they feel confident about it. And just gotta work through the steps on it, so.
Good deal.
That's it. Thursday off. Yeah.
Dave, what do you got?
Okay, last week, I had a all-day meeting at the ISAC offices to go over the process of hiring a new director for ISAC. And it was really interesting. Bill is doing a heck of a job of just laying out the process and making sure that the entire board is very well informed, even to the process of, we went through studies of character and leadership skills and things like that, what to look for and just helping in the hiring process. They did bring out two other directors. One was from New York, state of New York, and one was from Wisconsin, Mark and Steven. And it was interesting to hear from them. I mean, they shared a lot of their history and how their ISAC, basically, their association worked. And it was very similar to ours in a lot of ways. And Steven from state of New York, he said, imagine, you have New York City, which encompasses like 6 counties. And then you have, did he say 52-ish other counties that are all rural? And he said, you guys think Des Moines versus rural Iowa is interesting. Imagine New York City versus rural New York State. And he said, and he kind of talked about trying to walk that line. And he had brought up, he said, when you get dealing with legislators, especially the New York City legislators versus the rural legislators, he said 10% are gonna be on board. 10% are gonna be adamantly no. 80% in the middle is who you gotta do.
Yeah.
And he said, a lot of times too, and we had talked about this, when you get looking at different legislation, you can't make it about the person and the legislator. You have to make it about the policy and what fits for your counties and your local government and home rule and things like that. So he said, we never attack any legislators personally, but we may say we disagree on that policy because X, Y, Z, this is one of that. And a little side note on that too, he did say in the state of New York, sheriffs have a lot of power there. And it goes back to, he said, New Amsterdam and the history of how the sheriff, he called sheriff and bringing it over and they controlled a lot of power. They're still that same way today. And they kind of talk about the makeup of like our supervisor boards versus commissioners. And there was a New York model versus a Pennsylvania model of kind of legislative or, our local government. And like the New York model was called supervisors, but they were huge boards.
Yep.
He said, what was it? 39 supervisors
Yep.
in one county.
Yep.
39. Imagine sitting around.
You think you got problems?
How would I remember who's first?
Like sometimes instead of calling the board, they call it a little legislature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what he talked about too. I'm glad you said that because each little county is almost like their own little state house, trying to legislate and come up with rules and that. And then he said the Pennsylvania model was typically called commissioners, but 3 to 5, smaller. Where we're kind of a hybrid where we're 5, but yet, we're still called supervisors, not commissioners. But they walk through them, just a lot of similarities, a lot of what they're doing, it mirrors what we're doing. We also met with all the different departments within ISAC, like the IT and the public relations and the lobbyists and Jamie and Lucas, and they got to express without Bill in the room or, director of what they thought worked well, what direction they thought they could be better in, what they were looking for themselves as directors and what their past history is.
Sure.
they did, I know, Stephen and Mark, the two directors from Wisconsin and New York did say, and you gotta see this, some at NACO, that, you know, there's a small group of directors or the Association of Counties, you know, across the United States, and that Bill is really is an icon in the nation.
Yeah, it is.
And he said, you won't replace him. I mean, you're losing him, but you know, you won't find another Bill Peterson. So it's quite an honor to see
Yeah.
others that put him in such high regard and show that respect.
No,
And one's a recorder and one's the sheriff.
Right, this one, I think.
you know, he doesn't say a lot. When he starts talking, everybody stops and listens.
Right.
Because he's actually got something important to say. That's right.
But we are moving forward with that process. The executive committee will narrow it down to a few, and from there, then the whole board will decide.
Do you have any applications?
Yeah,
Once we sign it twice, you'll
when they say,
catch up.
What?
35, 40.
I said it.
Oh, I thought you
really?
already signed it?
I know, don't quote me on that. So the executive board is doing all that legwork. And it'll get narrowed down to the few. And like they said, all three of them, you know, Bill Peterson and Mark Pocano and then Stephen Aquario came from within their own association. But they said, don't think that we were just handed this. This was a very, very competitive process
It's good.
to become a association director.
Should be.
Oh, it should be. It should be.
So, and it kind of, I think they wanted to make sure that was expressed to the board that, you know, you need to go through this process and really vet all applicants and you're basically representing 99 counties and all the local elected officials under it.
I'd be curious how many of those applicants are actually from Iowa, how many are actually from within the organization. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be
We
interesting to
only
see
have
what you
two.
get for applicants.
I think 2 or 3, I would guess for sure will come out of ours. But I would say they'll come from all over the country. I mean, when I go to the NACO stuff, I mean, you see them like at the annual, I mean, so many of them don't come to the legislative because they're doing their stuff in their state, because the states are usually in session, but when you're there, they interchange them. Exchange ideas and talk. And Minnesota and, you know, Iowa and our surrounding states in particular, I think our associations, we even see it when we go to meetings here in Des Moines. You know, where the other state associations will send people to talk on the behalf of a subject or whatever. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of interaction, so I think it probably could come from anywhere in the country. Just like with like National Board or corn growers, I think they probably search the states that are.
And it can come from anywhere. The staff themselves, I mean, every single group we met with talked about the culture that they have, the family atmosphere. They said none of us are ever felt like we are a number. They even talked about how Bill Peterson said, even though he's director of the ISAC, you know, he'll stick around afterwards and help pick up. He'll be there I mean, he isn't below him to do any other duties. And they said that really admire that.
I think tough
He'll
shoes to
step in
fill.
and do that.
Tough shoes to fill.
Well, he's always got a story.
But,
Yeah, he does too. It's a good one.
it's quite a process. Hopefully by May, June timeframe, we'll have one new director selected and go from there.
That process will work.
You know, I think he was pretty instrumental in my deciding to actually participate more with NACO, because I told him, I said, I don't wanna waste our county money. That first meeting I went to, I said, if I'm not going there to do something, to be part of the process, I'm not going. And so he made sure that I was on a committee and steering committee and all that stuff, and kind of coached me a little bit. I mean, he's a good guy. You know, if he can take care of a whole state and he's got time to stop and talk to one of his people out of the whole group, I mean, to me, that was pretty special for me.
You said there were a couple internal candidates? Have they got it
Currently.
external?
Yeah, there's like 35, 40 applicants altogether.
Okay.
That's pretty phenomenal. Think about some of the.
Well, just
Well, granted, just like
Yeah.
at MRHC, they
Yeah.
had 40-some applicants and quite a few of them right off the bat.
Right, you
Yeah.
could weed out.
Yeah, just kind of a robo deal where they're,
Right.
just sending out to anybody, saying they did.
Yeah, that's true. If they use something.
And I don't know how many of that, I mean, I haven't vetted any of those. That's the executive board that's doing that. Whole board. So that was a good day. I mean, long day, but a lot of information, a lot of stuff to soak up. I can kind of tap around what
Thanks for
they
doing that.
had.
Yeah.
Then we have Region 12 is Thursday night. We'll be over there. We have all three board of directors, the executive committee, the policy committee meetings that night. And also had a few phone calls about the county farm that just were saying that thought it went well. Thought the auction was good, just surprised how much it went for. Just that, thought it was a good process and some of them that had watched it personally
Yeah.
just appreciated the auction and how it was done.
People watching, could they see how many, bidders we had?
We should be able to pick it up with that.
I don't know.
I didn't look up there to see, but I was surprised how many, bidders showed up that morning.
I might be, and I'm biased, but I had comments about Jared auctioning and how he did a very good job.
Waited a little bit to make sure.
You did a
everybody-
really good job.
Yeah, I thought excellent.
I can see Paul sitting back there, so I mean, the video covers the whole room.
Okay, see, I can't, even with my glasses. I
There's a top line there.
go to where it hears the voice,
I think sees all the way around.
I
Paul,
love it.
say something, see that picture.
I think it does. It pops to people when they're in other places.
does.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Even with my glasses. We're good. We're good.
That's
All right.
about all I got.
Very good. Ty, we'll go to you next.
Oh, couple things. I didn't have any real big meetings. I had one leadership meeting for the Ag Committee at NACO, and that's just starting to put together things to have people talk about at our annual conference. It's gonna be in Florida, and most people don't identify Florida as a big cattle producing state. They're like number 3 in the nation. They're real big. There's a lot of cattle, and I've been down there loaded. I drove back on sand paths and looked at alligator eyes popping up on the water as you're driving back and going over and off the road. Anyway, there's a lot of cattle down there. So I said, maybe they're like their state, their Cattlemen's Association or something like that. It'd be kind of interesting for the group to hear from what's ag doing in different places. Cause you can get some ideas, you never know. And I thought that I've loaded on the reservation down there several times, Gary Reimer always would get cattle down and from down in that area. He didn't get, his was out there east of Okeechobee off a private ranch, but then I'd loaded off the reservation too. And that was always kind of like shelling corn. That's how I kind of remember, like, it was a big community event. I mean, there was tons of people there. They had really cool pins, and they got one guy that's sitting up on like an old M seat, and he's got handles to run to get the cattle into different, and they're hollering, A, B, to sort them off into different groups. They're checking ear tags. Like every family has their own little bunch in the herd, like maybe 5 or 10 cattle are for a family. So that's how they kind of sort through some stuff. They're pretty interesting, and it's just something we don't see, so it might be interesting to talk about. So anyway, I
So
suggest.
you're saying down there, they gotta worry about an alligator taking a calf, not a coyote?
Not a coyote, that's right. And I don't know if some of them old mother cows down there, I don't think them alligators are mean enough to get a calf, but it was pretty, it's really interesting, cause it's different, it's obviously a different world. So I suggested that they do that, cause, you got ag people from all over the country are gonna be down there, so I think they'd really enjoy to see that difference. People from Montana don't worry about alligators, but I mean, like when we were I'll just give you a quick story. One morning we were down there loading, and I heard a big ruckus over by the pens, and all of a sudden you seen some of the guys running off with a big snake. And that was on the dinner table at lunch.
Oh, dear.
The
No.
ladies got her cooked up pretty quick.
No.
But, anyway,
So did you try
A
it?
lot of ribs.
yeah, oh yeah, I've had several times, so yeah. I ate some.
Little tiny rib.
But it was just interesting, just things that we, you know, and it was one of them pythons that have, you know, over the years have escaped from people private, you know. And it was a big sucker, but them guys on there ain't afraid of them. I'd have ran the other way. I'd face an alligator before I was a snake. Anyway, so that was pretty much what we did on that call. So it really wasn't a lot to talk about other than a few things like that that I brought up. But treasurer's office did drop by this for me to share with you. 2.57% left to collect on taxes. We have so far collected, the 2.75%, I think that must equal $885,490.75.
That's real estate taxes?
Huh?
Real estate?
Well, property tax. Did I say
Property
real
tax.
estate?
You just said taxes.
Oh, no, property.
Property tax, okay.
And, then, it says maybe that's collected in the first half, that 885. She didn't write down on here, but then she did write down here, $33,534, $534,123.22. Taxes paid, I think that's what that is, or tax paid. So there's that much that's been paid, and that must be the 885 must be what's left to pay. Do you want to see that? I don't know if you're writing that number down or not.
Nope,
I
I
just need
wrote
to
the
write.
percentage, that's all I wrote.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
And,
Did she mention out of that that's left to pay, is that any of that, the disputed money, just say Andersons or Smithfield that are disputing their taxes?
no, she didn't say that. That's a good question, though, isn't
That
it?
is a good question.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that.
Okay.
Well, if that's
And she may not even know.
She might not even know.
I know some of it's stuff, like I actually talked to one person that I called for that was running behind on their taxes and had a little penalty, and you know, what you get is things where like people have had something that coming out of their escrow, and now that's switched over on the new year, and they forget about it because
Yeah,
it isn't
they're
something
not
they're used to
aware,
paying.
yeah.
Ding, 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 they
Yeah.
forget, and all of a sudden there's
Easy to do.
so, I mean, stuff like that, I think is probably a bigger part of that 885.
That should have the pad board stuff adjusted off of it, I think. I'm almost positive.
You said Pat Ford,
Pad board, the stuff that,
That's being disputed.
yeah,
That's what they call that?
for that year anyway, it should be off of there.
You know, I don't know which
PAAB
one of
pad.
you, Pab? Anyway, I don't know which one he was talking about, conservation stuff or whatever, but the soil conservation. I had a meeting over in Fort Dodge on Saturday, you know, and they're flat. So they don't have a lot of, obviously, they leave a little bit of, you know, roughage out there on the fields, but they don't do a lot of cover crop. But I don't care if you live in the hills where we gotta worry about erosion from water or not. I would say there's a lot of acreage from central Iowa that's in Nebraska this morning, because, oh my God, did I drive through some dust storms? It was terrible. And I was thinking, gosh, I wish I knew where some of these farmers lived. I'd leave them a little note with 2 words on it, cover crop. You know, I mean, it was crazy. Some of them were so thick, it was worse than a fog to drive through it. I was kind of, I hope nobody stopped in this, you know, cause you didn't know how far you were gonna drive through it. But it was pretty bad.
Gotta have the rain to get the cover crop to grow.
Yeah, true. But,
Was that gumbo ground over there, like river bottom stuff, where if they don't till it, they won't even get, I mean,
If it's black gumbo, they got a tiller, it's
They
gonna
got-
be rock hard.
yeah, they got a till over there in that Fort Dodge area. I know we always did spring tillage. You need to drop rip it with a spring tooth or, yeah. But in any event, when you said that, I thought, well, I would share that, cause man, and got over here and you didn't have all that. I mean, there was a little dust in the air, but nothing like what you seen over there where they were flat. It was really bad over there. But, I don't, that was pretty much all I really had for meetings for this thing here. Okay,
Very good, thank you, Ty. Great.
Okay, well, last Friday, had Department of Corrections, 3rd District meeting. We're only having one of those boards where we're now in an advisory position. And so, those are a little bit different. There's, they don't go over, of course, any financials, and there's, really don't have to approve anything. But, I think a couple of things that stood out, is Maureen Hanson is retiring in October. I know she's been there a long time and, made probably numerous presentations to this Board of Supervisors. And, the other thing is that, Burgess Hospital is looking at starting a treatment facility, a licensed treatment facility in Monona County. So, that may be, that should be good to help out with the Crawford area. And
You're talking mental health. Is that?
Treatment, drug treatment?
Drug treatment.
Really?
yes,
Whereabouts in Monona County?
she just said Monona County, I would assume Ottawa. But
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Huh. Yeah, it's-
And then last night had Wesco meeting. And probably the thing that jumped out at the Wesco meeting, one, financially, they had another really good month. But we've decided that they're gonna go ahead and contract with two fundraising agents. And to do some grant writing for them, some grant writers. And those grant writers, I guess one is I think Becky Benami, who's out of the area.
Yep.
And then Fox Creek, which is out of Carson, Iowa. I guess Fox Creek has done a lot of grant writing. In the past, they have a pretty large staff. I think they have a staff of like 12 to 16 people. And they are, they've already identified some grants that through the federal government that they think Wesco should be applying for. They haven't, that Clay said they came in and sat down and kind of found out everything they could about Wesco. And then they, since they've written a lot of grants in the past, they kind of know where to target your organization towards certain things. Both grant writers combined have a approval percentage of 72%. So, we kind of thought that the cost is $87 to $90 an hour is what they charge. I kind of thought maybe it'd be a percentage of the grants or something like that, but they have a flat fee. And they kind of tell you how many hours they think it's gonna be to write for this grant. One that their Fox Creek is gonna write for, Wesco, it's $1 million grant to perhaps fund their Stepping Stones program. And they thought that it would cost them around $8,000 to $10,000 to write that grant. So as a board, really Clay wanna know, hey, is this something you guys wanna do? And we all said, yep, we do. So, that's something that I haven't had, I guess any other boards that I sit on have gone about it that way as far as
Spend
hiring.
10,000 to get $1 million
Exactly.
with a 72% success rate.
That's pretty good. Can I bring something up?
Yep.
While you're talking about grants, I did have somebody contact me about grants that he'd been spotting that were potential for this. I meant to bring it up, but it wasn't a meeting or anything. But he asked if we had a grant writer for the, and we've talked about that before, maybe having somebody that writes grants here and maybe that's something we need to look into a little bit more, because maybe we're potentially missing a lot of monies out there since you brought that up.
Just kind of wondering, I think it's, so it really relies on quality of the grant writer that you hire. You could hire somebody and maybe they have a 5 or 10% success rate, then you're spending more on that person than what you're getting back on grants.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking outside the box or out loud with you guys. I wonder if like Fox, would you call it Fox?
Fox Creek.
Fox Creek, would ever be interested in like a vendor type relationship with the county as a, just to get your feet wet to see what's available for grants for
Yeah.
county
Oh, I'm-
business. And you know what I mean? Not necessarily have to hire somebody at the time, but see if there's what they would think about grants available to counties.
If there's something eligible that you could
Right.
qualify for.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah,
get
no,
your feet
I'm,
wet.
If you
like I
hire
said, we gotta
them,
keep looking for outside money.
are they looking for the grants that fit what we need? Or
That's
do
excellent.
we have to
We have
kind
to
of
piggyback on
identify
what-
the grants and then you know,
They do that.
they do that.
They do
They're,
that.
they're searching all.
And one of the
every
things that
rock.
Stephanie brought up from the Carroll, County Board of Supervisors too, is that Fox Creek is well enough known and has written many of these federal grants that the people who read the grants know that, hey, these guys, you know, do a good job, or they've written many of these in the past, and she said that's worth something too, versus having someone, like you say, in-house, unknown, somebody that's not well-known, and I don't know if it's all point generated, but I guess you don't know that, but it does, I think, give you some credibility when you're with, someone who's got some,
I would think
experience.
a firm like that would be in the know as well, like if we were able to get a hold of them to know if there is available grants for counties.
I mean, that's the first thing I guess we didn't ask that question, but now it pops in my head, is that Clay said that they came and sat down with the Wesco management team and, you know, want to know everything about Wesco, all their programs, because then they would go out and find the grants that would most likely coincide with what they do. And I don't know if there was a fee with that or not. I don't think that there was. The fee is just moving forward if you want to pay them to do these grants that they're recommending that you apply for. So maybe it'd be the same thing where they would sit down with the county first and just say, hey, what's the county all do? And see if they think there's.
Cause I mean, it don't have to be $1 million grant.
No,
You know,
certainly not.
if you had $150,000 EMA grant, or, you know, something that contributed to anything in what we oversee, I think that anything, and I'm sure that they're probably for $150,000 grants, pretty quick for them. I mean, hopefully it's worth their while even, but
You think
I
you
would-
could get a number from them
Number,
or Fox Creek?
phone number, you mean, contact info?
Contact?
Yeah,
But here would be, you know, let's say that they have Carroll County and Crawford County both as clients. And kind
That's
of
just
both
it.
going for that same pool of money. Would you see that as,
I mean, there's gonna be competition in every grant that you apply
Okay.
for.
so, but if you have the same person.
Oh, the same company? I
Yeah,
mean-
yeah, Fox Creek that Carroll uses and, you know.
I guess we'd have to ask Fox Creek is how comfortable they feel writing if
That would
they're
be
would
kind of,
be employed with multiple counties.
because we're all after the same dollars.
but Gene, here's some, on that point.
Okay,
It's just like where Denison and Southwest Crawford is actually was a more impoverished area.
yeah,
So like for getting money for grant, excuse me, flood mitigation, different things like that, we had higher numbers. So if we got as good a grant writer as everybody else, but we've got these other numbers that elevate us.
there's a good point.
So there's different things that could actually, you know, I mean, we're a more diverse county than a lot of the rural
Yes,
counties, you know,
yep.
different things like that that would actually help us grant.
Okay, I
So,
just, that just
some are
kind
some
of came
things
to my
to
mind,
look
you
at.
know, there,
Right,
how many different counties.
they're not apples to apples to two counties.
Right,
Exactly.
right, good point, I found that as.
What
you know,
we actually
conflict of
bring to the
interest.
table,
No different.
especially like health grants or something like that, you know, boy, we really could use some stuff there, you know.
The grant that we didn't get approved through Paul because we're too safe of roads, which is a good thing. I mean, that's the difference in.
Right,
counties.
and when I thought about that, the exact example is that if you had Paul hired someone who does this for a living, right? As far as.
Yeah.
did that grant,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Is
this
it-
is DOT or not, though, that he received.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That they would take
Could
that
ask
into
him.
consideration, they would look at the fatality rate and say, hey, this plays a large portion of that, I don't.
It
think
was
this
one
is
of the
something that
professional
you should
grant
provide.
writer, though, wasn't she?
I don't know if they give you that kind of input or not, I don't know.
So,
I'll get the contact info, we'll
That'd be great.
move forward.
did Paul
Thank you.
write that grant himself or
Fox
did
Creek
somebody
Fund.
else?
He had
I thought he had someone else help that cost us $20,000.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, yep, I've got that, I think that.
And the other thing quickly is that they're moving forward, and once again with the house, we're still looking for a lot. They contacted 6 construction companies, and they only got one bid actually returned.
Doesn't surprise me.
And that's for the maximum amount cost, I guess, would be about $340,000, which is $174 a square foot. You know, if that's
That's probably pretty close.
174 seems pretty normal. I mean, but this house, no garage, no basement.
Does that have to be in Denison or can it be in,
They would, prefer it to be in the city limits of
Okay,
Denison.
in the city limits, all right,
If it's just outside, they will look at it, but they
Okay.
prefer inside the city.
all right, just kind of might be some lots and some of our other,
I would say that's probably pretty close.
well, you know, how close?
Well, I mean, we're not talking about Grove or,
Wife's
Let's
building
maybe
cost, but there's no
talking,
bath, I mean, no showers
Okay.
or kitchens or, kind of like in there, it's pretty open.
just from a transportation standpoint.
I get that, okay, just kind of wondering if that was an issue, because, if we went out a little bit further, it might be easier to find out.
And I guess as a board, we were really aren't comfortable with just one bid from a contractor, so we're to try to get, just to compare, just wanna try to compare and make sure we're fair.
Yeah,
But that's difficult to get, even people
It
giving.
is.
Exactly.
more because
Fight
they're like,
months since
I don't-
COVID.
I don't
And
want
he,
the job.
and Clay just wanted to do construction companies, not a person, you know, just a one-man show or two-person
Right,
show.
yeah,
Somebody that's gonna come in, start, finish, not have to go do other jobs.
yeah,
Take a
Good luck.
it is a
Right.
problem,
And he did get one bid from a person that we've used in the past, so,
okay, very good.
so that's all I got.
All right, till Paul gets here, in the mail, we had this bill from the Crichton Center, Department of Human Services. Should this go to Nate, do you think? or-
Yeah, I always have them vet that. I don't know how they got
Okay,
it over.
I threw the envelope away, but.
I'll get it over there and.
Okay, I just didn't know if we should,
yeah.
take care of that, so, this week I worked on, getting the approval from the Department of Revenue on our appointment for our assessor. That's the final step in that. We had to send a letter, tell them the date of when our assessor retired, the dates of the meeting of the conference board and our appointment. And so I sent that off to my contact and then she forwarded it to someone else. And then they sent me back some more information that they needed. And so we're in the process of getting that final step of our appointment. But, you know, he was on the list and he's had his experience. And so I don't see it as any issue. I think the biggest reason that they need to have that approval is to make sure that Julie said, you know, that we by any chance took somebody off that was not on the list, that they had a chance to vet that and make sure that the person is in the process of taking the test or that they have some experience and.
so it's an, okay.
But since it's somebody that was on the list that they sent out and that has experience,
It's gotta be one of the hardest jobs to hire for in the state, doesn't it?
it
On a
has.
county level. I mean, cause you think of all the stipulations that they have at the revenue, Department of Revenue.
But one thing
Yeah,
that,
we'll see
that,
when
that
we
104
Hire a new
names,
engineer.
Yeah, good point.
I originally was looking at those 104 names, and saying, well, there's 99
What's that?
counties.
Many of them around.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I don't, like county engineers, I don't think there's many of them on the list that, you
No,
know, will meet the criteria either, so
it will be a little
that
bit
could be
difficult.
interesting as well. Heck, we might get it, who knows?
But every assessor in the,
Already working.
state is not on that
Old
list.
already.
Chris assists on the assess state, or the assessor for the ISAC board, she said the exact same thing, it's just too difficult of a process and too tedious to have a larger group to assessors that you can pull from.
Well, one thing that I do believe is, you know, when I originally saw the list of 104 names, realizing that there's 99 counties, I was thinking that was all of the assessors and assistants in the state. But it's really just the list of the people who have recently taken that test. And so if you aren't looking for a job and you're not taking the test anymore, you wouldn't be on the
Like
list.
Elaine probably wasn't on it.
I don't believe so. So it
People like.
kind of brought that search a little bit more than thinking, well, there's only 5 people, you know. So that kind of helped a little bit finding that information out. So, morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Sun's shining, wind's not blowing, so
Beautiful
it's a
day.
fabulous day. It did have some wind.
There.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Well, we got a few things here this morning. Farmers Mutual is just a service line connecting there. We have had some discussions with our fiber contractor again and trying to bring them, you know, they started up in the spring and we had quite a few conversations with them last fall and they actually do, when you finally get them kind of corralled, they do what you want them to do. But it's just kind of, there's a lot of different players in that thing and everyone wants fiber. they want high-speed internet, so we want to try to be cooperative in that regard as
Thank you.
well.
Yeah.
So, the bridge, nothing new there. The maintenance shop, they're working on the rough ends for the concrete floor. I'm gonna try to head down there after we get out of here and see how
Looks
things
pretty
are
good
going.
though.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah.
So be a nice building when it's all done. Be a nice yard. That whole thing's worked out real well. The grade crew, they're up working on H Avenue. Bridge crew over here on L Avenue by Rocky Run. They finished up that stone basin. That looked really nice. Aaron was really good to work with, so
Cool.
had a chance
I
to take a swing
I
by
was right by
there.
there yesterday and didn't even look.
Yeah, we were swung up that way this morning after we looked at the bridge, and there's a bridge over west of Charter Oak, south of 141. There's a truss bridge. It's in this.
Which one?
So that be right there. Yeah, it's.
Quant?
Yeah, and you know, and we're gonna lower the posting, the timber supports underneath there that the truss sets on are getting really bad. And so I asked Kyle to kind of meet with us this morning over there too, because you know, it's borderline, should we close it or just lower the posting to 4 ton? It'd probably carry vehicles all day long, but you know, it's probably time to lower the posting and then maybe consider the long-term, you know, possibilities of not replacing it. So the deep channel and
It's deep.
so
Traffic volume on it would be extremely low.
pretty low, yeah, because most of those, they just go straight north and south and it's only half mile from Highway 141, so it's not like it's terrible to get around if you had to. But we're gonna lower the posting for now. I think we've decided.
Paul, would that be one of the bridges that you would have used that new machine that you demonstrated last week on, or?
Yeah, there's not much there. This is
Not
pretty
much.
visual.
Okay, all right, just asking because.
You don't need that for this one.
Okay,
I stuck my
all right.
hand in it.
Okay, all right, then, I just was wondering if that came in handy,
Yeah,
so
so it's not the piling so much, it's the
Okay.
cribbing that's used that the truss sets on.
if it's visual, then the
So,
machine's not necessary.
Just thinking back to my bridge crew days, that we did pick one up years ago and shove new cribbing under there.
Yeah, and we can fix things, you know.
Well,
it's
what
just-
was the discussion
yeah.
this morning was how much money do you wanna
Yeah.
spend fixing it when
Yeah,
you get so deep into it, you just will replace the whole bridge and then.
yeah,
Now, it's a long, deep channel, so it would be an somewhat expensive bridge to replace.
yeah,
For low volume, then you have to,
yeah.
I get it.
So for now, we're gonna do 4
I
ton.
mean, who drives it much?
The biggest one that I could see would be the pouch that has landing immediately on both sides of the bridge would be the most disrupted by it. But
I get it.
everybody else would just, I think they naturally come
They
from
do
the other
already.
way because of the bridge. It's
Yeah.
narrow and it's not a heavy, I mean, it's 14 ton
Yeah.
max, so I mean, not a lot can go across it anyway, so.
Yeah.
They are somewhat used to already finding alternate ways to get there,
Okay.
so.
And they got nice new bridges going to the highway, or newer, I should say. One fairly new and the other one's concrete, good structures.
Oh.
Either side of it. Anyhow, and the roadside crew are seeding. So, next items here, these are these federal aid agreements. So, the first one is the one on M55 over south of Vale. And the city has to approve this because it's in the city limits, although it's on our farm to market road, and we're taking care of everything. So there's 2 agreements. The one is the federal aid agreement that, you know, has to be with the city and the county because of where it's at. And so they approved it. And the other agreement, the next item 5 is our agreement with the city of Vale saying, hey, basically, we're gonna take care of everything on this project. So kind of like we did one with the city of Denison on the.
Do you need a motion on both of them?
Well, you can probably do 4 first and then do the other one.
All right, so we need a motion to approve
I'd
the,
make a motion to approve the IDOT federal aid agreement for the city highway bridge program agreement number 324, HBP 004. Are you writing that all down or am I just speaking?
You're just speaking because
I'm
it's
just-
on my paper too.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
We're gonna make
That's
it.
okay.
Project number BRS 79-27-0602, 624, M55 bridge over to East Boyer River near Vale.
Harry's got that, 'cause it's written down, so.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Otherwise, I'll call the motion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Chair votes aye. Motion has been approved. Next, we need a motion to approve the bridge replacement agreement with the city of Vale for County
I
Road
did my reading for the day, somebody else.
55 over the East Boyer Bridge, FHWA number 011480. There you go. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion on the replacement of the agreement? Otherwise, I'll call the motion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye also. All
Okay,
right.
can we, you need to sign, let's get these signed here. This will be the one you just
Do
approved
you care
right
what color
there.
ink it is?
Any color.
All right, great.
And then you'll need to sign in 2 places here, and Gene will need to sign in 2 places here.
Terry needs to attest to that.
Yep, and the same thing, there's 2 of those. Get those.
When will they do this one?
The next one.
The railroad.
Well, we're hoping to do that late fall of 2025. So, this,
So there's already been a lot of consult with UP then? Or not?
yeah, they're reviewing it now.
Is
They've
that what they're
had
doing?
the 6
Okay.
weeks well, now they're doing the soil borings. That's what they're doing out there today. But I mean, the behind the scenes work that we do is the
Working with the railroad.
the
One of
railroad,
the
yeah,
biggest challenges.
yeah. So,
Well, they've got, the bridges closed. You have to.
One of their main
Got
lines.
flaggers.
Real cluster.
yeah. So, the next item is, now this is on that bridge. So this is the, federal aid agreement. It includes both the raise grants of 2.48 million and the $500,000 in state money. So this is the agreement that includes the, overall project cost and the $500,000 that's gonna come from the state. So there'll be $2.98 million grant funding. So it's a good
That's
deal.
good.
Good
You're
deal.
talking about grants.
So the city will have to approve this as well. So
Okay,
I just got this. I thought I'm gonna get on the agenda. You guys can approve it. There's no significance to the order, I guess.
all right,
I'll make a motion to approve item number 6.
all right. Terry's got it all
Second.
written down. All righty. Any further discussion on the motion? Otherwise, I'll call the vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Chair votes aye. Motion 6.
That's a nice little addition, 2.9. 2 million.
Nice to have that
There
bridge.
you go. There you go, Gene. Assign 2 of them there.
So just so I understand, because people have asked me what they're doing, they're right at the top of the bridge. It looks like they're putting stuff down over. What are they doing
They're
right now?
doing soil borings right now.
Soil.
We're trying to get as close to the new pier as possible, so we know how long to make pilings.
So why do you have to shut a bridge down to do soil boring?
So you have to get in the proximity of where you're gonna drill, so, I mean, it's a big machine. It's a big
Eyes.
truck with
Yep.
a rig.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, we're going down 100 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they
so
gotta
it's-
Find the
make-
bedrock and that.
Well, you gotta, you keep going until you find enough resistive soil qualities that you feel you got, and based on experience, they kind of know. If we get down in that glacial clay 40 or 50 feet, that's probably good enough. So, yeah, so
They
that's
got a
what they're
big
doing.
flashing
Yeah.
machine
Yeah.
and somebody telling you to
Cool.
slow and somebody telling you to stop.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be completely closed, but they're
No, it's not.
alternating,
It's
they're
not.
alternating
It's
traffic.
very,
Yeah.
wait, very
Yeah.
minimal. I have
Yeah.
not had to wait. I'm usually on the slow side and then coming.
I
up
think
the
that bridge
side.
was last replaced in 92. Does that sound about right?
94, it was
94?
reconditioned. It was originally built in 1935. So it's
So
been there a long time.
reconditioning was
Wow.
in 94.
Yeah.
35, that's why it's long time.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're gonna do that one and then save some mobilization costs. We're gonna go right over and do Vales at the same time.
Very good.
While they're out here, they're just gonna stay.
It does not make me late or anything.
Yeah,
It's not.
Good preservation fund.
Scheduled out here to do both.
I know.
So yeah, so again, the first bridge should be let in January if everything goes as planned, okay? And that's the one with $5 million that we got.
Yeah.
City bridge money. And then the second one, if everything goes as planned, would be let in October, November of 2025. See, so the first one over Vale should be done before this one is shut down.
So the question that I've been asked is, when will we have to take the detour? You know, when's that bridge?
Well,
gonna-
in October of 2025, well, the letting will take place then when the contractor actually starts on it. You know, hopefully, Gene, and this is, who knows?
Okay, so who knows, okay.
'Cause we got a lot of things to work out yet, you know, if the
Yeah.
UP Railroad comes back and says, oh, we love everything you did. That ain't gonna happen.
Love everything you did, it's not
Okay,
gonna happen, okay.
not gonna happen, so then we gotta work through those negotiations, and it
Okay.
could take several months.
Okay.
You know, we just don't know, but our goal is to have a letting in October of 2025. And then depending on when the contractor starts on it, you know, it could be early 2026,
Okay,
where the
Is there any-
detour would start.
I mean, being them bridges are relatively close and the proximity, I mean, are there contractors that reach out to you and say, hey, when they're bidding the first bridge, is there gonna be any, you know, on a scale of things, mobilization for a big bridge company would be less if they just have to move 6 to 7 miles
Yeah.
versus halfway across the state.
I try to let contractors know, you know, that typically bid on our stuff when we're doing stuff. I mean, I think that's why we got a really good bid on that box culvert on E16.
I'm just
You know, because
curious.
he said, wow, he said, you know, we're really looking for work. We're gonna, you know, we'd really be interested in that. And they were the low bidder by 100,000 or 20. So, but you can never know what their workload is or what else they
And
got.
throw
on the
Mother
books.
Nature in there
Yeah.
too, if we had a big flood or something and needed a lot of emergency repairs, then we're, you know, that's still a passable bridge, so we're not kicked down the road.
Mother Nature is always the unknown, so. no-
I mean, that has
none of this should
affected,
be written
since
down.
I've been on the board, that has affected even the Highway 20 project, there
Yeah.
years ago was really raising our cost of doing business
Yeah,
with some of them culvert and bridge projects.
yeah.
Paul, you might not know the answer to this, but somebody was asking me if, once we have this bridge closed, if we could get a agenda of the train traffic so that as people that run right on time know when the train is coming and when.
Every 15
When we
minutes.
should be taking a different route.
Go all
I
the way
doubt
to
the UP would
59
share, I
then.
doubt the UP would share that because they probably don't even know themselves.
Okay, all right,
You know, with
cause
all the changes that happen, I mean, daily, you can just imagine the
Yeah.
logistics of
Mhm.
trains, kind of like
seems
your
like they're
trucks, you
pretty
know.
regular.
It changes
you know?
on the
Yeah.
fly.
All right, so
I mean, they could be, Gene, but I have no idea. I
That's
would
people
guess
that
there's a
run on
million
Give
time.
yourself
things going
15
on.
extra minutes
All right.
every day.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think it's as easy as it was when we were real young and you
Go all the way
knew
to
what time the
59.
train was coming through Charter
Yeah.
Oak every day. I don't think it's that quite
Well,
that.
Yeah.
there's a book out there that actually talks about like way back in the 1930s and 40s that they knew or what
Set
time
your
the train
clock.
would start in Manila and go to, you know, and actually end up in Arion
Yeah.
and, yeah, there's.
Well, time zones came about because of trains.
Oh,
That's how they were created. So they
okay,
could plan their logistics and timing of everything, so everybody knew when things were gonna come out. That's how
that's some pretty powerful
Came
stuff
about.
when you can,
I did not know that.
change. I did not know that either,
The
so,
railroad
so,
dictated a lot of our history.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll bring that book that I found in somebody's
The
basement. that talks
Department of
about that.
Transportation.
So the
in
answer to the
Texas
person
is
wanting to
still
know
called the
about the train
railroad.
traffic is no.
I have no idea, Gene.
That list doesn't
And
exist.
All the railroads, see if they can figure it out.
I don't know,
See how that
the
works.
UP would give it to you.
And with the,
Okay.
Yeah,
all the
all righty,
different
I
genres,
digressed
that's
just a minute.
No, that's all right, that's all right. So the, oh yeah, Ridge Road is the next item, Ridge Road reclassification. So anyhow, so you're all familiar with the road that goes out to the stables, KDSN radio
Very
from
much so,
town.
yes.
Okay, well, the corporate limit line is this green line right here, okay? And so you're coming out of town, here's the stables over here, you're coming up out of town and radio stations over here.
Yep.
They're reclassifying this
Oh,
as an arterial. So then that makes that road eligible for some of the Region 12 money that we have, you know, it makes it eligible for additional, different funding sources, if that makes
Okay.
sense to you. And so they put in a request, and then M Avenue and Yellow Smoke Park Road that goes out east and goes around to the park already is classified as a minor arterial, so those monies, or it's a minor collector. In town, they're arterials, outside they're collectors. So, so that would, then all of that would be eligible for perhaps some Region 12 STP money down the road. You know, might be, you know, because we're looking at doing a seal coat on it now. You know, and if you look at it saying, okay, well, we want to do an asphalt overlay, well, you could use those funds then to do an asphalt overlay in 4 or 5 years. And so the city's already put in this request. Well, they came back and said, well, we won't do that because there's this little gap right here, okay, that is outside the corporate limits, but isn't part of M Avenue.
A
You know,
geographical oddity.
well, it's just, yeah, exactly. The road kind of curves there, see, and the intersection's not. So there's this 105-foot length of road that it's just a cleanup is all it is. So,
Let's clean it up.
so what I did was I have a letter. I wanted to go over with you first, but I have a resolution that's basically requesting that it be reclassified with this same classification as M Avenue. And so it'd be a minor collector in the rural area. And then all of that, there would be no gaps. All of that then would be eligible for that money. So it's just a little cleanup is all it is. So I'll get that ready and bring it back next week. If that's okay. It's a resolution. And then I got a letter to send it off,
Who
so.
makes you aware of that?
The DOT and their mapping, they caught that. When the city had done this request back earlier this year. And they kicked it back and said, no, you got 105 feet. That's not gonna, there's this gap in classification. So anyhow, I'll get that. The seal code, so I met with, the city of, remember we talked about this last year, the city of Vale wanted to, there's those, 4th Avenue, 4 blocks, and then comes down Main Street to Highway 30 that are technically our roads, and we give them some of the money back. And I think this probably warrants maybe a couple of you, myself, going and meeting with the mayor and a couple of councilmen and talking about who wants to pay for what. But I got an estimate to overlay this 4th Avenue. And it's 4, I think it's 4 blocks, and it's $61,000.
That's for Vale.
Okay, that's with an 1.5 inch overlay. Okay, just going in there and kind of leveling it up. I mean, if you drive the road, it's got a little of this going on, okay? And this is from En-ROADS, who are working on Highway 39. And if you have any other towns, you know, Manila, Charter Oak, or anybody, I think I mentioned it to Peggy.
Some asphalt, Charter Road yesterday.
Yeah, that, you know, they're here, they're willing to do these kind of projects if they have a plant set up. So then I also got, up in Wall Lake.
Up in Wall.
Yeah, so then I also got a quote, from, Stay-Built to do seal coat, and then they have to do, you know, you gotta do some leveling in there. So their leveling, was about $5,000 for the areas, and then the seal coat, just a single seal coat on it, was 15. So you're looking at about 20 there.
That's all just the city of Vale, that 20.
Yeah, this is to do those 4 blocks that are
Okay.
our jurisdiction.
I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
was getting the numbers,
Yeah,
not confused with Ricketts or anything, that's all.
no, these are comparable, with the, this is just Vale now that I'm talking about, not the other streets. This is doing those 4 blocks, doing an asphalt, because the city, that John Lapel over there says, well, I don't know why we want to do seal coat. We should do asphalt. That way we don't have all the rock, you know, and there's no question that I know asphalt's better than seal coat.
No
We
question.
did that out there and you guys, and, but it costs more. 5 or 4 times more.
Yeah.
Thereabouts, or 3 times, I should say, you know, 20 versus a 61. So,
Oh,
you know, and so, you know, they're getting part of that. We have an agreement with them where they get part of the money back. You know, that we get the road use tax, you know, we have these agreements with some of these small towns that each year we write them a check and give them some of their money back because they wanted to take care of it. It's still our road to take care of, but in our agreement with them, it says that if we go into any major, and this would be considered, in my opinion, kind of a one-off, you know, we haven't done anything since we did that, you know, 16 years or 20 years ago now. That we would want to sit down with them and say, okay, you know, how do we want to do this? You want to, you know, we're giving you some of the money. You probably should come to the table with a portion of this. We shouldn't probably be all ours, but I don't know where we want to land with it.
Oh,
You know, and
is there
so,
like just about how much they get back every year? Just curious.
you know, the total for all the towns is just under 10,000. I think they get like 4,000 or 5,000.
Okay.
They're one of the bigger ones. Because they opted to say, well, we'll take care of them. They do the snow removal and everything on those streets.
All right.
And it just kind of made sense too, for them to do that.
I was just
So,
curious what that
yeah.
would
So
amount.
it's either 61,000 or roughly 20,000.
well, these are two options.
There's two
These are two options.
It's
Yeah.
it's not a total price of 80.
What would be
It's an optional,
The 80,
one or the other.
one or the other, exactly, right. You're gonna do, these are two separate options for the city of Vail, just for that. Now, there's also Main Street and, you know, we got a bid there for, like $14,000 just doing the center roadway, and that is ours to take care of. So, but it's not in terrible shape, so I wouldn't advocate doing anything with that this year. The other streets probably need something done to them. So I guess
What's
a couple of you be interested in going over and meeting with a couple of, you know, mayor and maybe a councilman and
I'll go.
drive it and take a look at it, okay?
Is there much heavy loads on them?
No, Main Street there might be, well, we're probably the heaviest load on Main
Right.
Street.
What would be the
For that.
life expectancy of the seal coat versus the,
You know, in a city application, you could get, you know, we haven't done anything since we did this 20 years ago. Back in '04, so it could last a long time.
I mean, Nelson's Park Road, that's just a seal coat and it don't get a lot of heavy traffic and
Right.
it serves the purpose well.
Yeah.
There, so.
And we do that about every 4 years, you gotta put a new seal coat on that, you know? So that's
with asphalt, we
about
wouldn't have-
50 grand, you know, so.
so asphalt, we wouldn't have to probably mess with unless something got,
You know, I did this curb and gutter in all those streets down in Dow City, 1996. Haven't done anything with them. And they only had an inch and a half of asphalt over steel coat. So the asphalt will last in an urban setting where there's just basically cars and pickups on it, it'll last a long time.
When are you thinking about going over to Vail then?
You know, we could do something like next Tuesday, you know, if you guys wanted, if
After
a
the
couple of you
meeting.
wanted to go after the meeting and just say, hey, we'll just come over and try to take a look at it. But that, I mean, I
That would-
wanna try to accommodate you guys' schedules, so you're not, you know,
Tuesdays are my day to work for.
Tuesday after the meeting.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah, okay.
make that work.
Yeah,
We never know when our meeting's gonna get over
we
there.
already got some.
well, that's all right. I mean, you know,
Yeah, with this,
we can't control that, but I'll be flexible and I'm just,
You control.
keep it
Yeah.
rolling.
yeah.
'Cause he's gotta go on vacation today and you've gotta get all planned.
Okay.
Oh,
And then the budget amendment, so I do have to, I know I gave you a worksheet on my
Yep.
budget amendment. I don't know if she gave copies to all of you or not, but.
Nope.
You know, I honestly don't think, I never think we're gonna spend that much, but there's just these, you
You don't
know,
know.
it's so hard in this world to know exactly where you're gonna land. So you make estimates, you make them high so you don't go over. Never have we spent that much, unless some really crazy thing happens between now and then. But I do have to do a budget amendment of the similar nature to the DOT budget that I prepare, you know, so you've got the auditor's budget that we always do, and then the DOT budget program that we just approved here a week ago. Well, this would be the amendment that would complement the amendment that you're doing to
And
the
that's
auditor's
next
budget.
week.
And that'll be next
The
week, so,
amendment.
so this will be on next week's agenda.
Okay.
And then we'll approve this as
Awesome.
well, and then I send this in, this has to be in by June 1st, so. Okay,
okay.
and then the last thing, you know, this, apparently there's some discussion in the Senate today about this, committees, commissions, and boards legislation. And, there's a gentleman that I've known for a long, long time down there, that he's a lobbyist, and he sent me an email this morning, he said, does this do what you wanted? And it had that language in there that says that it will be, you know, by rule by the commission, you know, basically the methodology, everything's struck. And I said, absolutely not.
This Lyle.
No, this is Dave Scott. He's Iowa Good Roads and Land Surveyors. And But, anyhow, there's apparently something being looked at today, in that regard. And so, I don't know where that's gonna land, but, I hope it doesn't go to the commission. I just,
The problem is they might say they're gonna keep the methodology, but then a year or two down the road, well, we could tweak this, we could tweak that. Next thing you know,
yeah,
Next thing you know, you aren't even getting.
I know, this has nothing, in all due respect to the commission, I just don't think they even care. Really, I don't,
They don't get it?
yeah. I use the analogy, I said, it's like having your mother-in-law take care of your personal finances. I love my mother, but she would have no interest in my personal finances and have no business doing it.
Great
My
analogy.
mother'd have it all spent in quilting.
So I don't know where it'll go.
Great analogy.
But, anyhow, see what
My
happens.
wife wouldn't argue.
I hope it doesn't change.
Thanks,
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
All righty.
I've been thinking.
All right. So we have all of that. All righty, so we are at the discuss and take action on health and dental insurance renewal. So I see that we have our insurance. Hello.
How are you guys
Karen.
right? Can you guys hear me all right on over Zoom?
See if we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm sorry. I know Jeff and Joe were out of town, and then I'm headed southern Iowa later today. So sorry we couldn't be there in person. But thank you guys for the time. We chatted with Amy, and I know Melissa's on this call as well. Just to confirm what we went over last time with the various medical options within IGHCP. And then we also looked at dental alternates. So kind of wanted to throw it your way to see if you guys have had a chance to look at those alternates, kind of to see where we're leaning as a county. And then we can talk through finalizing everything and getting ready for open enrollment renewal.
Rates for alternates.
Yeah, I know for that dental piece, we looked at adding an additional $500 on the maximum. And then we also quoted a to-go feature. And if you remember from our last conversation, that to-go feature, essentially what it is if you take that annual maximum of 1,000 or 1,500 of what we have today, and if you incur one claim on your dental plan for the plan year, the rest of those dollars will roll over to the following year. So for example, if we have a $1,500 annual maximum and we incur a $100 claim and don't use it for the rest of the year, $1,400 of that would roll into 2025. So there's some added benefit there on the dental piece. Wanted to, I guess, see where heads were thinking on option and alternate 1, 2, and 3. Or if we wanted to stay with our current dental offering with the $1,000 annual maximum.
So Steve, in your scenario that you just gave us, that person would have 1,500 this year and have 2,900 the next year?
That's correct. If we were to go with, I think it's option number 3, that has the $1,500 annual max and the to-go feature included. If you look at option 1, that alternate just includes the to-go feature. So it would be keeping your $1,000 annual maximum, but now we're adding the to-go feature. Keeping that same example that you just said, that would apply. Option number 2 does not have the to-go feature, but does include an additional $500 on the annual maximum from what our current plan is today. And then option 3 brings both kind of best of both worlds. And you can see the annual premium difference between option 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, option 3 will be the most rich plan, but also will have the highest premium. Not too terribly high from our current renewal at for dental, roughly being a $22,000 difference in annual premium from our renewal to option number 3. And then it's just discussing, do we value both? Do we value the to-go feature? Do we value just including the annual maximum? So that's kind of up for discussion today. Kind of just wanted to see where heads were at and maybe where we may be leaning.
to me, there's not a lot of difference in the cost to go to option three. If you're talking family 109 versus 113, I'm picking the 113 myself.
I would agree with that, for the difference in coverage.
And Keith,
again,
is that just a
yeah.
1 year rollover?
Correct, yes. So that would be the 1 year rollover. And then it would continue to stack onto each other. And I don't know if Melissa, if you're on or not, but I do think that's capped at double the amount. So you can't exceed 3,000. I'll confirm on that.
Yep, no, that is correct.
Okay.
They can only carry over from 1 year to the next.
So would it be capped at 3,000 then? Would that be the verbiage that'd be in there, capped at 3,000?
Yep.
And that's if we were to go with the $1,500 annual max. If we stayed at the $1,000 annual max, it would then be 2,000.
The thing that I kind of wanted to clarify just a little bit, let's say you had $300 every year. You could roll that over till it capped at 3,000. It's not just a 1 year rollover. I just want to clarify that. Does that make sense to anybody else?
Yeah, that's kind
Question.
of what I was asking, I guess.
Okay,
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So the answer,
Yeah, so the amount is what you're asking about compared to the 1 year.
right.
So do you know off the top of your head what that looks like? My initial thought is it's the amount, but I just want to ensure that we're getting that answered correctly.
The amount that comes over from the year prior. So you roll, say you only use 500 of it 1 year, you're going to roll 1,000 into the next. So you're technically at 2,500. If you go into the next year, you can't roll over more than 1,500. You can't roll over more than the maximum for that current year.
Got it.
Okay. Just clarifying that, because those little different scenarios come up and then we think we have the answer, but no, we didn't. So we got it. Thank you. I agree with Dave for the difference in the premium and the coverage. I think that rollover is huge. If you 1 year or just have no dental work, you're lucky. And then the next year, you're gonna have to have an implant, which is still not gonna pay for all of it, but definitely would help rather than losing that. So,
Well, and even if you look at just the employee, to go from 35.58 to 36.90, less than $2.
yeah.
To have
Yep.
rollover, I
That's somewhere just by.
seems like a better bang for your buck.
Think so.
Well, over 2 years, you're only, and then premium, you're only adding $8.08, right?
Yeah, we are starting to see these.
Still 113, it's $4.04, right?
Times
Times
12.
Times 12. Oh,
Per
times 12.
month.
You're talking about the
Per
month.
month.
Okay, I get
But still very minimal.
it. $4 a month more. For
So it's an all or nothing, we offer one plan. Employees wouldn't be able to pick, it would just.
I don't think, with that a little bit, I wouldn't think that
Okay.
we would want to give them an option. of
Another thing I
choosing
wanted to
between
make
that.
sure.
I mean, if it was a big money deal, I would think it would be maybe option B, but if we're talking $40 a year for the family plan difference. And whatever.
That'd be a question that.
Well, we can leave it at about.
I'm good.
I like that.
Like 105 to the 1,000 or 101.
Key to that option three, kind of typically what you see.
Yeah, and I would say we did look at alternates just because typically we see that annual maximum be above 1,000. We're starting to see more and more rich dental plan offerings. We love the to-go feature. And Delta Dental is one that does a good job offering that. So I would say from a benchmark perspective, option 3 is typically what we're starting to see out in the marketplace, especially with county cities too.
Dental is not cheap.
And I have a really quick question about that hearing, that Melissa that you had sent me.
Yep.
Do you have to have the Delta Vision to do that, or is that anyone that has the dental plan have access to the hearing discount?
Let me double check with them. I believe as long as you have the dental plan, you have access, but I will confirm just because I don't want to misstate if I got it wrong. I did ask our rep directly for that, so he said it without any candor, so I would assume so, but I will confirm that.
Okay, cause I definitely want to let the employees know about that.
Yep.
Just to clarify, the increase, is that paid by the employee or the county? If you're talking from, let's just say that 109 to 113.
Did we didn't set up dental like we did health though, did we, Amy? Like health is 17% or whatever that is.
Right, I can't remember the percentage, but like right now, the employee pays, 538 of the single and all of the family.
Okay.
I remember the conversation, but I don't remember how we did it.
Yeah, so I don't
I
know
don't
what the
either.
I can't do the percentage in my head.
So the percentage of that monthly.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that is that, I don't know that one,
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I don't know.
I don't think it's 17% like the medical, but I don't know what the percent is.
Okay.
But if you,
But it's something I could, do, just not in my head.
If an employee has family, dental, they pay the entire premium, the county does not kick in anything.
The county
No.
pays the employee portion of the family, so they would pay so like currently, they pay 3166 of the family, or not 3166. You take off the
Yeah.
5, whatever, so
26.
28,
26,
Yeah.
yeah.
there you go, Melissa, 2628 of the 9728.
So then.
It'd be nice if they both contributed to the increase. I'm just saying that out loud, employee and county.
Yeah, the county basically pays single coverage for every employee. But if they have family, they're paying that extra cost of the family.
I got it.
So what sets that 26, 28 number? That's a certain, that's a percent?
That's what I don't know. I don't know that it's a percent. I think it was, so
Is that what it was?
before last year.
It equals out to that 17% for employees only.
Oh, thank you.
So before, the county just paid the single premium for every employee, and then last year with the rate or the increase, they talked about the employees start paying a little bit towards the single coverage. So I guess
Remember
it is
I say
17%,
that,
so.
that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So let me see here. So this is a discussion, take action on the health and dental insurance renewal.
Yep.
So do we have our questions answered that we're ready to decide, or do we have more questions for our insurance experts while they're on Zoom?
I don't either. I mean, I think that to-go feature is unique, at least of plans that I've personally experienced in the past. And so I think that's a good feature to have in there. I mean, if you're just comparing the renewal at 1,000 and adding the to-go feature, I mean, it's about $1.30, to add that in the employee plan. I think that's well worth that. To give them basically another $1,000 of coverage if they're at some point in time.
Or 50%.
Yeah. Or if you go to the 1,500, right?
Right. Either way, we have to approve one of the dental plans.
Right.
And, we can always talk about the percentages and that
Right.
down the road, but to get the plan in place.
Very
that's
soon.
Very soon.
Very soon.
But we'll need to know where it's at, when you can get those numbers to us, so we can decide to discuss that.
And sorry.
Like I said, I think it's, add the to-go feature, we wanna, whether it's 1,000 or 1,500, that doesn't matter to me, whatever you do.
Sounds like a motion.
So what are we gonna go with, 1,000 or 1,500?
I
So
didn't pick. You
Well,
just said it
yes.
doesn't matter to me.
Right.
That's why I
We
thought
need
that
to
was-
include health in this motion.
Yeah.
And the health plan that they,
The IGHCP one for,
wish I had brought my big book.
Definitely.
Me too. Well, I know where it is. It's not in my briefcase anymore, didn't have to cut.
And just to confirm on this presentation, that is not supposed to be a $750 deductible, right? It's 1,500.
Correct, correct.
You had me excited a little bit.
For a minute.
And I also want to confirm on that dental piece, I don't know if I stated it correctly, for that to-go feature to roll over, you have to incur at least one of those claims for the year. So if you don't, those funds will not roll over for the following year.
So if you have 0 claims, it doesn't roll over.
Correct.
That's what you said.
That's
Correct.
good to know.
Yeah,
Good,
and
yes.
wanted to make sure
Well,
I clarified that.
Wait, you didn't have your.
But does a cleaning count towards that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a claim, right?
A cleaning doesn't, so any cavity fill, Melissa, feel free to jump in with others that you've seen, but anything that you're paying out of pocket for, that's typically what we see as an incurred claim. A cleaning typically we see as no cost. That would not go into your to-go feature rollover, if that makes sense.
Those are the details that,
Thanks for bringing that up.
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
yeah,
One. Because if you don't have any work that costs money, no cavities, which is excellent, you would actually lose that $1,500. You wouldn't get it that year. You can't roll anything over.
Right.
So I think that that's a good understanding to have for people that have excellent teeth and have no dental work ever.
Yeah,
I-
lightning strips also doesn't count. I know we hear that question often. So that's another one that we can't say yes to.
I will say though, a lot of people do think $1,000 just doesn't go very far. So I think they would appreciate 1,500 rather than just 1,000.
I'm kind of surprised they don't let, and since you can only roll it over 2 years anyways, the max out at 3,000, that to me, it seems a little bit penalizing that you didn't have anything but a cleaning.
Right.
I'm just kind of surprised that that would be that way.
I had a cap, I'd eat up that 1,500 pretty quick.
Pretty bad.
yeah.
All right.
I still think the 1,500 with the rollover is, to me, your best bang for your buck.
With the input from HR of what our employees are obviously telling her, I think the 1,500 seems to be the way to go. I think that simplifies things a little bit, for the little bit in the premium. Are we in agreement on that possibly?
You solicited, but
Yeah, I'm with Dave on the 1,500 plan to go.
Okay, all right.
But what I hear, the biggest complaint I hear is $1,000 isn't very much.
No,
Right.
So, I mean, I think 1,500, is at least.
1,500
To go
with the
feature isn't
to-go
as
feature.
great a feature as it
the
was
to-go feature.
about 3.5 minutes ago.
Right.
Still,
So,
I mean, because we're only gonna offer one plan,
right.
so.
And we
Yeah,
can give it a
I
go
like
for
that.
this year, and if it's,
15.
if people are not
With the
happy with
to-go.
it, we can.
With the
Because
renegotiate.
we don't know currently what percentage of our employees had a claim on
Right.
dental, right? We don't know that.
Right, no.
We don't know really how many employees would actually utilize that feature. So I'm sure now with our new insurance carrier, they'd be able to tell us that next year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's that.
All right, so we have a motion?
Well, we have.
yes, we do.
Oh, what about that?
We gotta do health insurance, so you
Oh,
gotta.
Going IGHCP the whole way.
Other side, a lot of numbers.
A lot of little numbers, little print, big numbers.
What if we-
Okay,
That would kind of be-
clarify that.
Yeah.
So these are just plan options, other plan options.
Okay. So we had a kind of consensus the last time we talked, which one we were gonna use, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you wanted to keep with Walmart and get in the trust with IDHCP, what was in the presentation is what the renewal would be.
Yeah,
And then they have the HSA option.
right.
And then all of all this is, I just gave you, is just other options, but if it's, you don't even wanna look at this, you don't have to. This is
No.
just.
Yeah, good, cause
I
I,
don't
like,
wanna
well, we
look
gotta
at
go
that.
through all these,
Yeah, I
I
need
think
more
we had
than,
a consensus of that plan, the IGHCP plan, that I think.
Is that with a 1,500 deductible?
Yes. Not 750.
I think that, to go into another one of these plans, we would need more than just a, short period of time, because that's a lot of scribbling.
But I'm with you, Kyle, I kind of felt like after we had met with Keith and Holmes that we
Yeah.
were on the
So
same
that kind of
page.
got started here and circled.
Right.
That's kind of what we talked about.
Yeah, the other ones are deductibles and.
I think we picked that plan because it was very similar and comparable to what we're offering now. It was gonna keep their rates
Don't want
similar,
to make any
very
drastic
close to
changes.
similar, so. I guess we need a motion. I would make that motion to approve the healthcare plan with IGHCP and the 1,500 dental plan with the to-go option.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, and a second. Any further discussion on our health and dental insurance renewal plans? Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Chair votes aye. We have, now have our plans in place. Hope it works out for everybody. I hope our decisions are well taken by our employees and they work out. So thank you, everybody that answered questions, and thank you, Amy.
Anything for them to sign yet? No?
And
Nice.
sorry, just for our understanding, we are going with option 3 for the dental piece. And
Yes.
then for the health insurance, we are including plans 14 and 16, which was shown in the presentation last time.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's how I vote.
Sounds good.
Even- Does that mean you're doing the HSA too?
Offering it.
Yep, so that
Yeah.
it would be that HSA plan. So just want to confirm that we would be offering.
People ask me about that, and so
And so we'll discuss
we'll discuss
later what we're gonna.
Right, you said plan 16,
Premiums, yeah.
how we're gonna roll that out.
14, 16.
Yeah,
Not too
14,
much
16.
Yeah.
Not too much later.
Open enrollment is May 1st. so,
Right. I mean, because they'll pay their first one in June.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just around.
We work best under pressure, so it's good.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Thank you.
Eclipse happened yesterday.
Alrighty. In an effort to keep it
Good,
moving,
thank you.
we have Jacob up next. He has got a presentation on D911, EMA, the assessor IT services. Jacob, you are on.
A little of all of the above, mostly the E911, how and this is not really an actionable item, just a discussion item, because I'm looking for direction from the board on this.
Okay,
So last week, I was broached, from the EMA, team about getting a county email, okay? They're a county employee, they should have county email.
I agree with
okay?
that.
It was, that was one of the departments I hadn't really talked with, didn't work with, didn't know anything about. So I talked with Terry just a little bit last week, kind of getting just what EMA does. Are they a county entity? Because E911 apparently is a consultant. So how do we want to broach that situation? I also found out, through my fellow IT directors that Dwayne has always kind of shoveled off in the past, the assessors department, and paid everything out of his fund and did everything his way. He looked for recommendations from me, I made them, and then he would purchase, okay, whatever services they may be. But we never really tackled a whole lot of other items, if you will. And I'm finding out from, like I said, from my other IT directors that the assessors department should be treated just like every other department in this courthouse, okay? So I had a discussion with Seth. I said this, there's nothing wrong with the way it has been going. There's no issues, no code or Iowa code issues that we've been encountering with that. I don't really understand why Dwayne did things the way he did in the past, but ultimately even though they already kind of are brought into the fold, a lot of the assets that were part of the assessor were being purchased out of the assessor's budget, okay? So
I would
now.
assume it's just because they're their own taxing authority, so.
Yeah, and that was kind of the way that was my rules of engagement, okay? But it led to other issues such as like phone, like when we're doing the new phone system. Cause it sounds like that's gonna come all under me, I'm gonna pay for that outright, and that's gonna be for all the departments, and it's gonna be said and done, slick as snot. Same with Office 365, well, I mean, they are their own taxing authority. I've never billed them for those services, but the main contention here, as I've been flushing this whole situation out, is how do we want to tackle E911? Because they're technically, according to my understanding, is they're a consultant, not a.
Dwayne is a consultant for 911.
Right.
911 is a statutory makeup of elected officials within the county, so they are very similar to the EMA board.
Okay.
But instead of us taxing for the money that we would for EMA, the money comes out of the phone surcharge, so.
Right.
Kickback from the state.
I'm just kind of looking for a little bit.
I would say even with all three of these, you could almost probably go into an agreement with them that we will handle your IT at a certain rate, because well, 911 and assessor would be more probably similar than EMA, because I mean, we, as a taxing entity, already collect the funds for that.
Now, if they would actually, I see where that bill's still traveling through the Senate down there,
Yep.
where they could be their own taxing entity, and at that point, then you might do something similar with even EMA.
Because I see it as kind of similar to within our own organization, what we can control under our tax, you know, when Paul does stuff out at the park or whatever, he charges the park for it, or whatever. So I think there needs to be that, some sort of a money trail for auditors that says you're doing basically contract work for these departments.
Okay.
That's, I mean, you can still go into group purchasing and I'll do all that, but.
Okay, but the actual
At some point in
services.
time, being they're their own taxing authority or they get their monies through phone surcharges, that it needs to be spent accordingly
Okay,
from those places they collect their funds from.
so we'll probably need something to stand up regarding the department, my department that is, as far as what services are gonna be rendered to these entities, correct?
Would that be a memorandum of understanding?
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, I
yes.
mean, it's something simple as that, and you know, we just, you know, and you can, I suppose, bill that rate. I mean, I don't know how you do it, or just say so much a year. For general services, say, just throw a number out there, 5,000, but if there's equipment.
Divide that by 3 and I think
All right, I have a motion that we just divide that.
No, I'm just trying to throw something together here.
Well, you could
because-
just charge for actual expense
I
too.
mean, if you're buying all new
actual
computers,
cost, if
that's
it's
a one for
product,
$1. I mean, they $800, they pay $800.
Right, yeah.
But as far as a monthly fee for you to answer their phone call, say my Office 360 ain't working, should that be just an established fee, or should it be a per hour rate? How long does it take you to work on it? And that means you gotta keep track of that time.
Yep, and then and if we're going down that trail, and this is how other departments work, okay, as far as IT is concerned, every entity from county government to private to non-public, they all have like a ticketing system, that you build your time towards. And then that goes out accordingly to the appropriate department. So that's kind of how that works out. I don't, just my own professional and kind of a personal opinion, I don't care for ticketing systems. That's the reason why we haven't embraced one up to this point, okay, as far as this type of discussion. And the reason being is I'm almost hoping for something to, like, if you were to work with a managed service provider, they're almost hoping for something to break so they can get some sort of revenue from you. Okay, I hate that kind of mindset, okay? That's not, and a lot of them, what they'll do is they just bill like 3 hours a month towards a particular company, and then sometimes it'll roll, some of them they'll do a rollover, others they won't. But you're always billing that same standard rate. And in that scenario, you're not necessarily under the impression of waiting for something to break so you can justify revenue. But that's kind of my.
We're not trying to operate a profit and loss.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing that and that's how the state runs against its other departments, is they have a taxing and they have billing out towards the appropriate agency.
And here's kind of the problem I see is that
Mhm.
we've never dealt with this before, so you really have no idea how much it's going to involve. And I
Right.
think that rather than grouping those three together, we need to singularly look at E911.
Okay,
What, he's a consultant.
right.
So I want to make sure, the consultant for the E911 is asking for a county email.
Well, he's already had one. We just transitioned from, because he was the assessor.
Okay.
So he's just continually used that same email. Okay.
And what would that email be?
Dzinc at crawfordcounty.iowa.gov.
Okay, so that's still the same. Just
Yeah,
wanted to make
the only
sure.
the only difference is he doesn't have the same access that he once had before, okay? He's not part of the assessors group in that capacity. He's not really doing anything assessor.
Okay.
He's E911, so.
And just because I think it would be easier, is there a way to have the words E911 somewhere so that people, I don't know, it'd be nice to, how are we gonna get the word out that he has that, or do people already know?
I mean, I've actually put it in his title a little bit, and he's got a department share that's out there that says E911.
How did we handle that prior when, Dwayne was, assessor and E911? Was he just kind of taking care of that all together under one big umbrella?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, just trying to, because I really had never thought about that before,
Right.
and I've never, so as far as the E911, they have their own board, they have their own, way of getting their revenues.
Sure.
What kind of equipment did they require that they have? I mean, before, was he using the assessor's equipment for the E911?
He was using the same machine, yes.
So now does he need a new machine that the E911 should buy?
They've got one.
They
Yep,
bought one?
they've got one.
Very good.
I can't remember, I don't think he went off a recommendation of mine, but I think we purchased through Dell for it, if I remember
So
correctly.
does E911 have an office?
He shares the EMA.
So they have a shared office?
Down in the LEC.
Yep,
Never been there.
yeah, so it's like right under, you go down the steps in the LEC, it's right in front of you.
Can't miss it?
Can't miss it.
All right.
So it's right there.
Maybe I'll take a tour. All right, so,
It's nothing there.
so
No,
that one seems pretty easy, correct? Not a whole lot of changes, right?
right, well, I mean,
Other than how to bill them for the time
yeah,
that you
so,
spent.
so I should be, we're going from we're gonna move towards a billing type of structure towards that particular entity at this
Get a
time.
memorandum of understanding,
Yep.
put together, we'll approve it and then. we'll
Okay.
move it to-
That's
And then they
good.
have to approve it as well because of their own.
Right.
Right, make sure that, okay, remember, okay. EMA really is all they're asking for, because Greg has never had a county email, which I
Correct.
think makes great sense that he has one, so that you're officially, I think coming from,
So, a little bit of, what that's really kind of spawned it, is Greg has never approached me
Uh-huh.
regarding any IT matter, okay? Just be straight with you on that one. When we went to Office 365, I thought it was prudent to have what's called a distribution list in place to say EMA at crawfordcounty.iowa.gov. And then this way, we kind of look like we're still, but they were actually getting forwarded out to personal emails.
yeah, I'm not in favor of that. I
But,
think
so
we have a
Tim broached
county
me
email.
last week and said, yeah, probably should have a county email. So I created one for him
Nice.
and that's what kind of instituted all this thought process. And with Seth becoming the new assessor, we can establish a new rules of engagement, so to speak.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So Tim would have the same, he has his own.
yeah, he's
county-
got Zinc at crawfordcounty.iowa.gov now.
Okay, and Greg, they already have theirs right now.
Well, Greg does not have, he's still using his personal email yet, okay? So that's currently where that's the
That makes sense.
way we're set up at this junction.
All right.
We're not looking to, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Am I gonna be billing E911 for that email account then that Dwayne uses?
Yes.
What's it cost us?
$20 a month per user.
What it costs for our emails?
For each
Yes.
individual email, yes.
How's
I've
that?
never seen that breakdown. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So.
I better use mine more.
I use mine
Yeah,
on
I use, I know, I use
I try
mine.
to help you a little.
No,
And-
mine's
next-
full.
And next year,
$240 a year, I think they could
And-
stand that.
and next year it's
They can
bumped up to
handle that.
$22 a month per user.
Okay, that seems fair.
Well, at the end
Oh,
of the
without
day,
doubt.
they have
get
their
a
own
volume
source of
discount?
revenue,
Right.
which comes out of the phone system, and it's not fair to the property taxpayer to have to subsidize that when they're getting it from back. So-
Okay,
No,
yep,
that's-
and also,
So,
That's why I said
Right.
we tax for the EMA, we don't tax for 911
Mhm.
or the assessor. So as far as the county goes, we just have to have this memorandum of understanding. We will collect these charges because we manage
Okay.
your email addresses and any costs incurred that's computer, just
Yep.
big purchase items,
right,
it'll be dollar for dollar
Right.
reimbursement and, and you come up with a plan on what how you're gonna handle the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what to put on that.
right. As far as like,
Bring
if
that
there's a
to us.
ticket issue or something along those
Yeah.
lines, I mean, granted,
Bring it to us.
yeah, it's not gonna be like
Right.
a huge revenue generator or anything.
no, we're not,
No, it's
we
just-
don't, we just want to be even.
Fair, just wanna be
Yeah.
fair.
Yep.
That's all.
So I want it, so we
We
have
want a
the
square
three
deal.
different entities. We haven't talked about the assessor yet.
Mhm.
So
That'd be all right.
you're entertaining that the assessor in their memorandum of understanding would also have it understood how they get billed, because I've seen memorandum of understandings from other counties with their assessors.
Mhm.
So we're gonna ask E911 to bring us the memorandum of understanding. Nope.
We'll put it
Nope.
together.
We'll put it together. I'll put
You'll put it
I
together?
can take
Okay.
one for all three.
Jake will do it for all three. All right, just wanted to
Really,
make
just
sure.
call
it due, because
Drop
he
the
doesn't
ball.
do
Just two.
Just the two, assessor and
That's right.
911.
Oh, they just put in a phone.
That's right, EMA is under us anyway, so.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So we
So,
have, everybody's on the same page. You understand?
Yep, I'm
What's going
kind
on?
of understanding the game now at this
All
point.
right.
And all of this is these MOUs are all gonna flow through Colin, right, for right now, correct? We're not gonna be looking at it, someone else to draft, help assist me with drafting. Okay,
That should be
We
just
got him
fine.
using,
okay,
Yep. that should be
Okay.
just
he's
fine.
already on the payroll.
All right,
that's fair. I mean, I understand that there are other circumstances and I don't know what they were, that we've gone out to an outside attorney.
yeah.
So,
No, I
Unless he
think
came,
it's-
most of the time it's
By
somebody.
his direction usually.
Yeah.
mhm.
I think that we can only do that if Colin does not think he wants to do the service.
Or
for
doesn't have the
someone.
time to do it, yeah, I get it, okay.
He has to tell us he doesn't want to do it before we
Okay.
go out to somebody else. is
Sure.
my understanding.
Yep.
All righty,
So-
well, thank you for bringing those three things to our attention.
And everything, I don't know, Jake, if you want to, moving forward on the Crawford County Courthouse website, when you hit the contact button, EMA and E911 are not on there.
Right, and that's
So-
something I'm trying
If
to.
they have an email address, I just you would hope someone in an emergency situation would contact E911
Right.
email.
Yep.
Instead of calling, thinking they're gonna get an immediate response.
And that's something that I think Ty brought to my attention, must have been a month or two ago about getting that process, and it's a slow going one to try to engage those individuals, so. But, yeah, so that gives me a little bit of direction in regards to what we're doing
I
there.
do have a memorandum of understanding between an assessor and another county. Do you want me to send that to you, just so you kind of
Absolutely.
see what that looks like? See
Yeah.
if you could, sometimes it's easier not to have to reinvent the wheel.
I'm a big fan of that.
All righty, I'll send that to you.
I love copying other people's
I like
stuff.
saving
Yeah.
time.
Well, and
$10.
Colin has seen that also, so he's familiar with that. So we'll work from that one.
I'm sure
Okay.
Colin's got many
Many.
samples.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
this just happens to be one that somebody kind of liked. So, all righty, very good. Thank
What
you.
else did Jake have?
Keep those,
um,
just in the
Disconnect.
discussion.
yep,
Disconnect your here.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Jake.
Yep, you're good. I don't, naturally, like with public health, when they went and disconnected the PRI, they just submitted us an email to Frontier, disconnect it, and they moved on with life. I don't have paperwork for you guys to sign at this point because Frontier has changed the game again.
Oh,
I'm sure.
So, I submitted my request this morning to Frontier, and I'm waiting for paperwork back to go through that, or to initiate that process. So, I don't know if that's an item you just want to table for now, or if you want to just say, I don't know if they can just go ahead and say.
Yes, I think they should, so that
Yeah.
way you can continue the
Yeah,
process.
and that's what I was
Otherwise, we
thinking.
keep paying.
I
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a motion and to have Jake, approve the PRI disconnect with Frontier when the paperwork comes.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Now I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Get her done, Jake.
All right.
will do. So,
Both sides. All right, yep, that's a good thing to have done too. That's lingering on a long time.
right, yeah. I like, I didn't want to be presumptuous and wanted to give you the
Appreciate you
option,
bringing all
so.
of that to us.
I'm presumptuous, so.
So, anything else you folks have?
Should be
No,
good.
we're
Okay.
good, we're good. Thank you.
Keep on
All
trucking.
righty. We are at the citizens input. Paul, you have anything you want to input? Very good. Anything on-
Paul did reach out, he forgot to talk about Rick.
Okay, come on
I know
up.
he'd mentioned it, and then I got down and it's like,
We just talked about.
if you're
Oh, yeah,
okay.
you did.
just briefly. So it's another one of those small towns where just when we don't have an agreement. So we're responsible for everything from sidewalk to sidewalk through Ricketts and.
All streets?
Yeah, well, no, just,
Just
The main.
The main.
just the highway that goes through there. So anyhow, where's my breath here? I need
Take
to
the elevator
exercise
next time.
more. Anyhow, so they're having their 150th or 125th
That's
in June. And, so back in 2017, when we did the overlay, or no, that's 2014, man, it's been a long time ago. It's been 10
How long
years.
ago?
Been 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
We did the overlay through town. Then we seal coated the parking areas. So it's been 10 years. The west side, I don't know if there's some heavy stuff that parks along there, but it's kind of rutted up and, so I've got a proposal here to basically, this is just from the post office, okay, south, okay? If you're familiar with Ricketts, this isn't that area north of there, is almost $17,000.
Wow.
To seal coat their parking areas. This has nothing to do with the roadway. This is just seal coating the parking areas and taking care of that kind of rutted up area, but I don't know.
I don't know either, because it's frustrating, we do that, and you're correct, saying there's a lot of heavy trucks that get parked.
Tore up in a couple years again.
Yeah, I mean, you try to kind of work with them because it's their, big event, but yet
Yep.
you gotta be your kind of stewards of your own areas too. So I wanted to run this by you guys. I don't know.
Well, either,
So,
I mean, is there any way, if we do this, we can protect our investment by putting weight limits on it?
you can put a sign up, but you gotta catch them, Kyle.
It's
That's the
all,
problem.
just the
You gotta-
enforcement part.
Yeah, you gotta catch them, and you gotta enforce it. And, so,
I don't know, I'm guessing they probably don't have a big pool of money to dabble on, because I know they've got some streets that probably need seal coated as well, but the guy could make a bigger deal out of it when we get a cheaper rate, I mean. But they would have to be willing to wanna fix their streets as well, but if they have no money to do it.
yeah. We did it because that was kind of a one-time deal. I thought we'd probably be done with it, but here we are. And really the only reason we're doing it is because of their,
Yeah,
it could by all accounts be tore up and be gravel.
correct. Maybe that'd be the best bet. Does it pose a hazard at this time, trip, fall, injury hazard in regards to something coming back to us that?
Not really.
Okay.
It's on a parking area, not a sidewalk. Has nothing to do with the roadway. The roadway's fine.
I guess as the caretakers of that, I mean, if somebody would get
Yeah, it's ours.
trip in a hole
Yeah.
that's there, I mean, would it be better off if we just go up there and blade it and gravel it and call it?
I don't know. This has really no engineering significance to it.
I know it.
This is all, do you want to provide a paved, dust-free parking
That'd be like
service
me asking you
for Ricketts? And I don't know how much parking there is on that side of the street. There's nothing over there.
There's no,
The business or residence or anything, everything's closed. I mean,
be like me
I guess,
asking.
here's a thought.
At the back.
We'll do the east side, you take care of the west side. if you want it done, because we just don't see any value in that, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's actual post office, there's a fire station, there's city hall, there's things on the east side that perhaps warrant it. I mean, I just kind of throwing out ideas here
And they'll be better at maintaining an overwatch of that.
of that area as opposed to the west side where there's no,
I can get behind that.
so maybe I'll just tell Pam that. I'll say, you know what, well, I'll figure out what that'll be, but I'll say, we'll take care of the east side. We're just gonna let the west
Otherwise,
side.
I'd be like you or me or whatever, saying, hey, I want from the road to my fence line paved. I mean, you'd be,
Yeah, it is.
I don't like mowing.
Yeah. But through these streets, you know, and this was the legislature, this is where that legislation fell short. Cause the DOT does none of that. Highway 30 goes through your town, they take care of the travel portion of the road, and everything else is the cities. And that got left out of this legislation.
Why you see where they don't put a lot of turn lanes and stuff in some of these towns, save the money?
I'm not sure about that. They may just not have room, you know, like down here on Highway 30, it'd be extremely difficult to put a turn lane in down here. You know, I think where there's safety warrants, they'd certainly do it if they could.
Would that be still considered, that'd still be considered a travel portion though too, wouldn't it, if they're driving on it?
I would, that was designated turn lane. Yeah, I mean, that's why out here on Highway 30 coming past the ethanol plant, you know, they marked all that area off. You know, I saw a guy pull out and pull past somebody in that area, and there just happened to be a highway patrolman right in front of me. I saw that.
Hold them over.
Yeah, so it's not part of the travel way.
Well, I think.
So how
it's
about,
fair
I mean,
to both
is that the
parties.
consensus, or, you know, we can do
They
that
have skin
side
in
where
the
there's,
game, we have skin in the game.
yeah, and there's actual justification to us spending money because there's something there.
Right. See what they say.
Maybe they won't see the justification of doing their side,
Right.
right,
And that'll be their choice.
and that'll be their choice.
Yes.
Exactly.
we gotta answer
Yeah.
the, justify it to the people
To the
that
rest of
ask them all, like, why are my tax dollars paving the street? We could get behind it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that becomes a policy call too, because it's our responsibility, but then is it our responsibility to have a dust-free paved surface? Or could it just be gravel?
Correct.
Like a Class A crushed stone or something like that.
Right, we have to be fair to all the
Yeah.
small towns in the county, if that's
Yeah, yeah.
what we do.
And what did you say that cost would probably be?
Well, the total for both sides was 17,000,
Okay.
just under 17,000, so.
So there's 20,000.
There's
blocks in Vale, right?
Yeah, and here there's 5,500 in this patching, you know, that would go away, cause there isn't any on the other side to speak of. This is all on the west side.
Maybe they solicit the person doing all the heavy parking to pay for that 5,500.
But I know there's issues with semis parking up there, cause it's been brought to my attention, but I don't know how you keep them off.
And there
you
could be
know?
a day when
Well, it's not.
the small towns run out of money and just say, I don't wanna be incorporated anymore.
And that can happen too,
That can happen.
yeah, and then they're all
They're
ours, yeah.
You probably aren't far from that considering.
No.
I mean, I know that.
That's.
They won't let go of the debt very easily, but at some point.
They won't, yeah, I mean,
Take
it's
care of it.
pride there, I don't know, and I'm not just trying to find kind of a happy medium
I
here,
think
a
this
balance
is
in
something that we
what
can
county.
actually get behind.
Yeah.
And somebody comes and asks, well, this is why we did it, because their
Yeah.
business isn't
Yeah.
such on that side.
So I can support that.
All right.
Sounds good.
See what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry for the,
Hey, no worries.
I forgot
Yep,
about
yep.
that.
You're good.
We'll find you
All right.
next time.
Yep. Anybody on Zoom?
Yeah.
That has any citizen input? We're at that part of our meeting.
Okay. I'll say.
Well, once- You got something, Alan? All right, come on up.
I just asked Paul to stay.
Okay.
Because
Perfect.
I'll do the Paul thing maybe first.
All right.
I'm gonna be doing, kind of tearing up a one-day celebration in Boyer, Iowa on June 1st.
Okay.
And, I don't know, pulling it off, but I think we're gonna get her done.
All right.
So I'm gonna plan and I want it to work.
Good.
Some of the things we're gonna have is, a parade, and that's kind of why I wanna ask Paul. is there any way that we can use a little of your property to line up for a few parade things?
There's no problem.
Cause there's not a lot of room in
We got a lot, yeah, we got a lot of room on that lot.
I'm sure glad you got that. That looks so nice.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
It really looks good.
Yeah, we'll just have to kind of coordinate with Meredith there.
Oh.
I don't think it'll be any issue at all.
But basically, I'm probably gonna have to line up parade going north out of town on County Gravel Road. And I already talked to sheriff to traffic control, because,
That'd be neat.
I wanna have something good.
That'd be neat.
The reason I'm doing it, I'm from Kyron. My grandfather did a lot of business in Boyer when that was a going town. I mean, there was a lumber yard, there was an implement, 2 bars, a bank, a motel, a blacksmith shop. Unbelievable. I was very lucky yesterday. I happened to call your office and Mary got me some old flats. She made 1899s. Oh, very interesting. And then the recorder, she got me some stuff too.
Nice.
So I have a building up there that you guys are probably aware of in the corner.
Yep.
But I've been working on that junkyard and I just talked to, what's her name? No, I talked to the pumpkin lady.
Oh,
And she says maybe there's gonna be a movement there. Have you heard anything?
No.
She said she heard that he's gonna buy some land to get out of Boyer. Ah.
So just to follow up, has Carrie and the sheriff been there together as we talked about on the phone?
The, Mr. Rasmussen said he took a tour
Okay,
and he says it's bad.
It warrants our ordinance, you know.
It sure does, doesn't it?
we called on that.
You know, and I looked across the fence and there was ducks in there quacking away.
Guard duck.
Yeah, dead
All joking
chickens.
aside, Vern had a gander that was the guard gander of the junkyard in Vern years when I was a little kid.
And all the trash and then antifreeze, oil, you know what that does.
Alan, to your knowledge, has Carrie been over to look
I
at
don't
the
know.
environmental part of
I
it?
don't
Because it was my understanding that she was going to go with this at the same time with the
Probably,
sheriff
but I haven't.
to get that ordinance.
I haven't heard anything
Yep,
update
we
from her
talked
yet
to-
either after we
Yeah,
talked to
maybe
her.
we'll call over and follow up on that.
That would be
How's
great.
I'll see what Roger.
Now,
is up to on
somebody,
that.
she just told me, pumpkin lady, that the guys are moving out of that house too. That are in that house that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
Because the septic system has not been. ain't supposed to
And that's
be.
why we got Carrie involved, you know, because that was part of the complaint.
Yeah.
So we need to find out how long this process takes. because
Well,
we
if
have
it
until
isn't done by
1st to get this
June
done.
1st, it's not done.
Sometimes turn pretty slow.
Yeah,
Some things turn really slow.
yes, really slow. It's been how long?
Yeah.
And nothing, but I really do
I think this-
appreciate you guys.
Cecil was sitting there when I first started
Oh,
talking.
I
yeah,
remember
talked
it.
to-
We
You
said
know
it
what
was-
Cecil told me? I still remember. Cecil said, why don't you go talk to him and help him clean it up? And I said, Cecil, why should I go over there and help a man that is not thankful? He chewed my butt out because he said I'm over on his property. And I have it surveyed. I got the guy from, where is he, West Side, Manila, wherever down in there. And I got my pins.
Yeah.
I paid how much money, so I know where my lot line's at. I said, you get off of my property and don't ever come back. And I have that right.
Absolutely.
And then to put up a junkyard is terrible. He has no thoughts. And I don't care if it is Boyer. It's unincorporated. They don't deserve it.
Well, and the ordinance was designed, you know, to have some teeth in these
Oh, yeah.
unincorporated little.
But I
towns.
appreciate your help too.
You
I
are
really
welcome.
do. All of you getting behind it.
Well, we're still behind it. We'll
Yeah.
follow up on it and see if we can get a timeline, see if there's an
Yeah.
estimated time that he
Oh,
has to get it done.
Cleaned up,
And what
maybe
is
they'll
the penalty if he doesn't?
reinstitute
Does
the
anybody
pumpkin
know?
line back
What's
through.
the penalty?
Yeah, right. You guys know a little bit
I
of
don't-
that
it's
was the
in the ordinance.
pumpkin vine.
And I don't know what that is right off the top of my head. Let me look on the county
Well,
ordinance.
let's see if you can find that out. Okay, we'll
And
have to
I
raise
do
it.
have a picture that was in Kronk's Cafe of Boyer. I guess was down there in Kronk's. And some waitress got fired one night, so she threw something and broke the glass in it.
Oh, my goodness.
Poor David Steer bought it. So I'm getting some made. And then
Oh,
I'm gonna have an auction with number one. Gotta raise a little money.
there you go. All right.
All right.
We got a
So
lot of
come
work.
up June first,
Oh, I will be there.
What time's parade?
10 o'clock.
We will be there.
You be there and we're gonna have fun. We got Staley's Chicken. We got taco play. We got bags tournament.
Oh, my goodness.
We're gonna have a hay stacking contest.
There, you're useful enough, you can go, we'll
Yeah.
check.
How about a tractor backing contest with a 4-wheel wagon?
Oh, there ain't nobody around that can do that anymore.
You know, I used to, I backed into our corn crib alleyway with bales.
No narrow front.
Okay, can I have a narrow front?
I gotta say, no
Narrow
narrow front M, I might give it a try.
I did it on my end with no power steering. With a load of bales up a hill, 1 inch on each side.
Cheaters out.
Not anymore.
So what's the competition for stacking hay? Just how high you can go and how pretty of a stack you do?
How fast you can
How
go.
Has
fast?
to stay standing.
Without falling.
Put it in some of those hills?
Is
You
it
have to
alfalfa
stay
or straw?
standing if you
We're
fall.
gonna make, and then a hay throwing, so we're gonna make heavy New
It's
Holland
corn
bale.
stalk bales.
Yeah.
Stack them.
But I don't, thank you, Paul, for your help too.
Very loose line.
Yeah.
Mowed up there.
Have you,
Thank you.
how are you advertising this?
Loose
Have you
twine or
talked to
real
the
tight
Chamber of
wire.
Development
Can't
so they
get your
can get that
fingers
out
in
on their
there.
webpage? and all
I'm
things like
gonna
that?
get a hold of them,
I would get
because
that
it all
going.
costs money.
Yeah.
So CDC will do it for
Yeah,
free.
yeah,
They'll
they'll
put
do
it
it
on
for
their
free, that's
website for
what I was
free.
saying.
Yeah, CDC.
I
Get
went
hold
to
of them.
CDC.
When I was a real little kid and I'd ride on the hayrack with dad, he'd make me each load tunnels or a fort within that, and I think about that now. He had to be on the fly to think how he's gonna tie that together to build that, each load different.
And you crawled through it?
Oh, yeah.
No architect that making sure that?
I'll just give you a couple.
He was insured.
See, my family, we bale a lot of hay, you know.
Oh, so did mine.
25,000 square bales a year, and I'd be on the bale rack with my uncle or my cousin.
Sure.
Stack them all and then load about 5-6 loads, and then the same people in the barn. No two, because you didn't wanna spend that extra money. And then stair step them. Have you ever stair step bales in a barn? Up you go. One barn,
A lot of things I.
south of our farm down north of Deloitte. My cousin and I, we were in there and he said, that barn's gotta be getting full, isn't it? Oh, yeah, but we got room for a couple more loads. We crawled out of there on our bellies. We had it up to the peak. I said we were running out of barn room, so we're just doing it, you know?
I think that's it.
I don't know.
They come down there 2 days later. Floor was sagging. What did you guys do? And put posts under.
Before you could hold her up.
I had a
Barn
neighbor,
is still there though.
my neighbor Stan had 2 city kids he
Within
hired.
30 days after the abatement officer
Yeah.
removed the nuisance. pursuant
After
to
5
the
loads, they
ordinance, the county
poked their head out of the
attorney
barn and said,
declared-
barn's full.
Huh.
There's no way you
There's
can
more
know
teeth in
what's
this
going
game
on.
than what we-
They sat up in the loft and watched them just drop it.
Just sat in there. Just
They
watched
had
it drop.
they had to pull it all back out and then start
Oh,
over.
then try to restack in a pile.
Just let it pile up.
Oh, no.
All right,
I
thank
wonder how many were
you.
broke.
We will follow up on that. I have your number. I'll let you know what I find out.
What a mess.
So,
One other
Yes,
question
go
I
ahead.
have.
Yep.
Do you know Crawford, that's Crawford County, you know, Boyer, it's
Uh-huh.
unincorporated.
Absolutely.
How many lights that the county is paying for streetlights. Cause there's not very many there.
Oh, are there some that are burnt out? that are there?
No, I just kind of worried about that night, you know, for a little bit of lighting. And I talked to
You want some
Mid-America,
temporary ones?
can't do it. I just talked to Mid-America this morning and they will not do temporary lights. I said, boy, that's real nice of you guys, a big company.
They don't,
Huh.
They don't
they
care.
don't care anymore. That,
They,
they're so far removed from,
what
you
they're
know,
actually
used to have
trying.
the local people in the towns. that
Oh,
would-
you know that, Charter Oaks, Leslie,
used to
all
have one
that.
guy that
Area.
worked-
One guy there all the time.
Yeah.
So are there, and I don't know, cause I've been in Boyer, but I've never, are there poles and lights there?
There's a
or-
couple.
There's a couple. Do
Well,
they
I guess
light
we're
up at
paying
night?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure you guys are paying for them,
It
cause
should
it's
be, they
Crawford
usually
County.
come through Paul's, that's what I was just gonna look at.
I should have looked
Where's
at, asked Paul.
I
Yeah,
wonder if,
Where's the claim? Yeah, the claims,
yeah, King
Usually is.
Go to a brighter light bulb for the night.
depending on it, might not be.
I wonder if they bill it on his, like his shop, on his,
You know what I
do they bill it
told
on
him?
Paul's shop fee?
I said, I got a
Yeah.
generator,
I
a
don't know if
diesel
it's break it down
generator, I
for
suppose
city
I
level,
just
how
lights
square
up
feet it
to
is.
that,
But,
hang them from the
Either one's
trees.
not-
yeah.
And I-
people
Have to
have-
look at the
I
bill
hung
itself.
up.
Here's
Well, you know,
Rita
uh,
Corner,
I can't
Mall, so that's
They would
north of
work.
Ricketts,
Well,
M55 and
Just
E16.
as a
Buck
thought,
Grove
I
were the
know
ones
Adam
that were
has,
paid in
lights
this
that he
current
uses,
process.
Yeah.
that, when he has
So,
to
do you think they would be
That might be
individual, or
good.
would they like to be on Paul's shop fee down
do
there?
its own.
I'll talk to.
There's probably lots of those
Does
around.
They might be
your
under-
Adam, he has
I don't
a
know, they might.
couple of young lads that work for
I don't know
him
that I've ever,
that are Hispanic kids, I think.
I just assumed everything that was on the Breeder shop was that.
They're my neighbors.
When calling into the township.
Well, the dad is.
No.
Does the one have the taco stand
Wouldn't be on top.
that works for him?
You know,
I don't think.
I can do some searching.
Not that
and
idea.
find out. Well, yeah. If you give me some
I'm
names, I can
guessing.
follow it backwards.
That's what I did.
I did not know that.
That's,
I'm guessing if we.
We'll get
I'm
after
gonna
it.
let you go.
All right, yep.
I really
don't think we're having
appreciate-
pull to get new ones.
You are
Yeah.
welcome,
Thanks for coming
and
by.
we appreciate all the work
Yeah.
you're doing, getting this out there and having a
Well,
little
see, we're gonna
celebration
be
over
the
the New
first
Year's, so-
one.
Give me the first one of the 4.
Yeah.
All right,
So
We'll
I'm
be there.
I'm calling and I know Rickards is a good little community.
yeah.
I'm a little upset at my Chiron because we had the 100th and my wife and I did a lot for them. And we weren't really appreciated. We were talked behind our back.
Oh, no, I hate that.
No good deed goes unpunished.
That's exactly
Ding, ding,
right.
ding.
And
Ding,
they
ding.
said, well, them damn Hansons tried to run the show.
Well, at least
We
you feel
did
good about
not.
what you did.
We did not save a penny. It all went back.
Very good. But we'll follow up with Roger.
We're gonna have an auction too, cause you
Okay.
gotta raise money.
Yeah, gotta raise the money.
And, they're gonna talk to see what we can do about them bags. Guys drink a lot of beer.
Not in Boyer.
So we gotta do
Hey,
it.
who's making the turtle soup?
Yeah.
Probably need to
Somebody's
think about
gotta make
a
turtles.
ride home for all those people been too, so they can all be
So we have a
safe.
big
So-
Well,
Turtle
I
soup
already
party
talked to
down
the
there at
cops.
Okay,
so
they're giving rides.
And,
Well, no, there's some that probably will need rides.
Okay, I'm just thinking ahead. So this gentleman over here has,
got
is
Ubers
getting ready
in.
to head out of town, so he,
I'm heading to Mitchell, South
oh my
Dakota
gosh.
for my, business. See, I haul people to workman's comp doctors.
Okay,
So I gotta go to
Corn
Mitchell.
Palace.
Yeah.
And you know where I gotta go then? Tomorrow morning? I gotta go to Rochester, Minnesota and back to Mitchell.
oh wow,
You're due for a new Prius.
yeah.
Getting there.
You're good.
No, you know how many I
You
got
won't
on
even have to
mine,
put
Jake?
gas in it.
289,000.
So there you go. Wow, clown car.
It's not a clown car.
55 miles to the gallon on the
I hear ya.
road.
These guys make fun of me, but this goes to show.
You know who drives Priuses?
I don't wanna know.
Just you and Gene, the way.
Right.
Little old ladies and gay guys. Well, I'm neither one. And I've had 3.
So you're the exception.
I fit the little old lady, so I'm good.
No, they're good. They're tough. They're good. They're very dependable.
Right, perfect. I will call you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
If I have any other questions, I'll be in touch
You got my number.
between now and June 1.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
But make sure you stop on up.
Right.
You're all invited and tell your friends.
I've been for 25 years, I was on the honeymoon.
What a good crowd.
Thanks for all you're doing, Alan. Appreciate it.
Well,
Still
I
there.
like to do what I
It's a good little.
Yeah, we
missed it.
Great
Done.
little town.
Oh,
I remember when I went, I've talked to you.
Never, it's just been
I
a
talked to him in Charter Oak. I go to his
All right.
sister for my
See if
haircut.
anybody else online wants.
You do not have to leave.
No,
I
I'm
just-
leaving.
You do not have to leave. I just need to get the.
Close the
meeting.
Yeah.
You can stay.
I gotta get going.
Thanks for
All right.
visiting.
Oh, yeah, you do have things to do.
And I appreciate you, the
Absolutely.
opportunity to step in here.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Al.
Door's always open.
Oh, I know.
All right.
That's-
Thank you.
I don't normally bother you.
You're good. It was very,
Thank you.
you needed to today.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no other citizen input,
Oh, yeah,
we got a hand up. I did once, but
Okay.
no hands up on Zoom. So we're gonna call this meeting adjourned. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting has been adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for
So if
attending.
you would like to guess a question, what date